player towards heaven or hell, he can rotate between ramp and between heaven very easily. But having that one op for outside is super crucial. Whereas the T op, I mean, I personally don't really see that much value in it. It's so hard to win these duels. What do you think about these odds, by the way, Portalis?
Well, our partners over at LootBet have sent the odds in, and I do have to agree with them from Dignitas. Based on that last map, on your point about the AWPers, what Dignitas like to do the majority of the time is actually have Hulzerk play up in heaven and have Get Right playing garage with the M4A4. That way, if APEKS try and take outside control to wrap into the A-bomb site, they can utilize Hulzerk's AWP on the high ground to try and watch that cross into secret or the wrap around to A. And Dennis finding an opening shot here definitely bodes well for the APEKS side. Marcelius gets a second. Freiburg can reply for one, but Hulzerk up above on the rafters is raining down more bullets. Can't convert a second kill though. Now he drops down into the site and risks being overwhelmed by Truth. Instead, Exist takes him down, and that leaves the Norwegian IGL in a 1-on-3 scenario. Finds the close range engagement, but needs 2 more with the USP.
Yeah, he has to win that first tap, but that puts him in a position where he is an easy target for the other player down below. So he's going to try and go for a sneaky play because he's not making any steps. Of course, they have to guess wherever he might come. There are so many possible angles. He could go back heaven. He could go outside. He could... The rotations are endless in this regard. APEKS will just go for the straight up 1v1 duels, preferably because, well, he might actually catch out Hulzerk here around the corner, though. If he gets a good quick tap first, it puts him in a 1v1. We'll get that headshot, and now it's all on Get Right. Of course, Get Right, the clutch king, to try and beat APEKS right now on site. APEKS does pick up the bomb. Could rotate towards the B site if he's fast enough, but Get Right peeks out wide, and APEKS gets shut down. Nice timing game there from Get Right, and that is going to be Dignitas, the first on the board.
And that makes this T side all the more difficult now for the APEKS squad. They would have been desperate to try and get the 3-0 conversion early on to try and benefit their T side. You mentioned they didn't do too well on the T side of things in their first half. Today, it was the CT side that really announced that comeback for the primarily Norwegian roster. And as they hardly go into this second round, I don't think I like that decision here on Nuke, to be honest with you, because when you full eco in these second rounds, it allows you a full buy in round 3, but normally that buy is lacking utility because you have to stretch your money just to get the full rifles and head armor available. And I think on a map like Nuke, it's really not viable to be sacrificing the nades at any point in time.
This should still have a decent amount of utility, though. Not the full set of everything that you would want, but they should all have smokes available. The cross comes through. Marcellus actually gets a kill right there. But they're going to re-peek into Forest. He swaps towards the FAMAS. He's swapping back towards the SMG. But luckily, Hulzerk does save his life right there. And Forest is just chiming in for some kills. A nice little eco frags. Easy money is what he's looking for. And he does get it as well. 3 kills for Forest. Quick, easy round for Dignitas in the second. But now the full AKs are going to come through. I assume Marcellus is not going to go for the AHUP because that would be a little bit too greedy. And, well, their utility is still pretty decent on the side of APEKS, all things considered.
It's not too bad. It's definitely better than I thought it was going to be in this round. And that does fill me with a lot more confidence off the back of this full buy. There's not really an issue that they don't have an AWPers. It's a massive bonus round coming out from the Dignitas side. 2 MP9s and 2 FAMASs. They're at a hefty firepower disadvantage. But Gross has just had a grenade dropped straight on his head there. Get Right plays this angle a lot. He knows the timing on these spray downs. He's normally good for kills. This round it's just damage, but it's still heavy damage dealt to the APEKS side.
Yeah, they used a lot of utility outside just to try and get a push towards Secret, so that they have a player down below. It does look like they're going to go towards ramp, where we do have Hulzerk playing close angles. Very dangerous, of course, because he can get overwhelmed. Gets 1 kill, but immediately gets shut down, and now the rest of the team needs to help. The ramp out exists. Sprays 1 down, loses the fight against the second. Actually burns APEKS in the end with the molly, and now it's all on Dennis versus his old squad. will not get anything done. Get Right shuts him down, and that is 3 on the board for Dignitas. Pretty quick round, all things considered, for Dignitas and APEKS. That's going to force them on and semi-buy. Well, yeah, a little bit of upgraded weapons, but that's about it that they should be able to afford.
It's going to be a bit of a dire round, unfortunately. Tech 9s, Deagles, some body armor, but they're not going to be able... Well, they're going to have to try, certainly. They might be able to find lucky headshots, but the odds suggest that this is definitely a round that's going to be in Dignitas' favor. Truth taken down by that AWP as well. A nightmarish start for APEKS.
Yep, but they are going to at least get down secret, which doesn't really mean that much, though. Get Right trying to go for a little bit of a spray, see if he can get some bullets to connect. Unfortunately, he gets his timing wrong. Dennis is going to peek into Forest, who immediately gets himself a kill, falls back, and will be repositioning himself so that he gets the advantage. He doesn't want to lose too many weapons, and he's just going to double up towards ramp. Exist, playing that bodyguard role. Forrest chimes in with another one as well, and Forrest going pretty big. 7 kills in 4 rounds so far for Forrest, and that puts Dignitas at 4-0. Both these teams actually got 5-0'd in the previous map on their E side to start the game off with, and now Dignitas, it seems like they're trying to do the same to APEKS.
If they can get off to a very strong start of the CT side, it's going to mean wonders for this Dignitas squad. They put out 8 rounds on their T side after going 5-1 down at the start of the half. Halzerk, though, that's an important shot not to hit in the round, and it's given outside control away to the APEKS squad. Drews is thinking about pushing into Mini, but knows there could be a player awaiting him to deal damage on that angle. So instead, he has to back away, and it's still a 4-on-5 now, favoring the T side, but Forrest has got 1 kill back at least onto Marcelius.
I think Marcelius made one step right at the end there, and that definitely put Forrest on high alert. I mean, he expected it already, but him to be that close, that one step gave too much away. AKS towards Squeaky, though, will get rid of Get Right, and Truth gets rid of Freiberg. It's now 2 CTs to try and hold the line. Headshot onto Forest long range, and that is problematic. Exist is also in heaven. They're doubling down, jumping through, but he's completely blinded, and Dennis gets the kill. Peek out one from Forest is not going to be successful, and that's going to be the first on the board for APEKS. They will not be able to save that op in for Marcelius, though. Losing Halzerk at the start of the round there definitely does really hurt, especially because he did just buy that big green stick specifically for that round. And we'll have to use it probably a little bit more defensive this time around. I mean, you're up against AK, so you don't want to peek into a headshot angle most of the time.
You really don't. Freiberg's had to drop down onto the MP9. In the A-bomb site against the Budapest 5, they were able to overwhelm him on multiple occasions, just getting caught out in the open and only able to find 1 frag before dying, really. So the MP9, perhaps not a favorable weapon for him should A be under attack, but it's actually APEKS deploying utility towards outside at the moment. They're putting 3 smokes down, and it's important to deploy this outside utility correctly. We saw plenty a gap in the early best of 1. Dignitas were playing from the T side. They weren't quite putting out the right amount of smokes, or the right amount were there. There was just a hefty gap between the two of them from the Budapest 5 T side, and that was very exploitable from Dignitas. But APEKS, they don't fall foul to the same mistake here, and in fact, Dignitas are so worried about those outside smokes that they're going to take lobby control, fearing a wraparound into the A-bomb site.
Yeah, but there's still a player of APEKS towards upper, and he's just trying to keep that under his control. Truth actually might get flanked if he's not careful, though, which is Forrest up on top. He's trying to go for the run on top of Silo, but that gives away all the intel they need for the side of APEKS. They now know that they pushed lobby, and B should be pretty doable. Get Right pretty low, gets taken out by Truth. Exists. Will not connect that full-on spray fest. Cross is just going for the tap fight. Still on 0 kills. Halzer going big. Halzer going amazing. 4 kills for him on that op, and he just needs 1 more for the ace. Halsek does get shut down, but now it's Truth behind the side versus Freiburg 1v1. He needs to get the quad to win his team that round. Needs the headshot connection. Is trying to jiggle peek it the entire time. Will he get it?
Ooh.
Oh, 1 bullet. He will not win the fight. Freiburg gets it. And with that massive hero play from Halsek, they will be able to win the round in favor of Dignitas and put APEKS back down.
Crazy scenes in the B bomb site from Halsek's AWP. Massive quad kill for him to pull off there and steal a round away from the APEKS side. 5-1 up now are Dignitas, but their economy is going to be stretched with this buy. Halsek has been dropped over his signature AWP, but it exists down to an MP9. I think they're just happy to have a victory there, as it could have been the hard eco for the CT squad heading into round number 7. Instead, they are going to have weapons and utility to work with, and APEKS, they decide they want to slow things down earlier on. They want to break up the momentum of their opponents slightly here and stop them from steamrolling this early half.
Yeah, Marcelius does have the op now on the T side. Did not show that much in his previous series on the T side opping. Hopefully he'll be a little bit better right now. He will be up against Halsek, who did just go for a massive hero play in that previous round, so that is definitely a nice boost there for Halsek's ego. I mean, if you get that big 4K that wins your team the round, that is just absolutely massive for your confidence, and hopefully he'll be able to show that one continuing this series. Because, I mean, I really do love Marcelius as an opper. Not woken up just yet, but he is a very dangerous player to deal with.
If he can get in that fragging mindset, if he can show his form, he really can start firing out on all cylinders and be a lethal force to be reckoned with. That much is true, but he has to get started. He needs that activation energy before he can really start to come alive with that AWPing reaction. The Halsek finds the first kill with his AWP instead in this particular round, and that's going to force APEKS into secret. Actually, they were thinking about pushing forward perhaps towards the A site. Instead, they back away though. With a man down, they creep towards B, and I don't think they're going to have any close players to worry about at bare minimum, but with this utility being deployed, it is going to draw a rotation of Halsek at the bare minimum.
And Halsek does have the angle peaked. Of course, Grush should go for jiggle peek. Nice shot onto Halsek. A lot of damage dealt. The molly is going to hold him off of the peak. As well, Exists is going to get smoked off, and they should be able to get on site pretty safely. Unless Halsek shoots you through the smoke and gets himself a kill onto Grush. Grush is still on 0 kills so far, 6 rounds, and not the greatest showing the world has ever seen just yet. And it's going to be a 5-on-3 retake with Marcelius holding that op angle, but that molly went too deep a little bit, but they now know where Marcelius is at least. APEKS playing close angles towards ramp. Will get himself one, and they're evening out the score. Luckily, Force chimes in for a kill as well, but APEKS is still down below ramp, and it's all on Freiburg. 1 versus 2. Time is ticking down. Needs to win the double fight, and Marcelius, there's no reason for him to peek. He's even going to do it, even though it was not necessary. It is going to be the round win for APEKS right there. 5 versus 3, and they will lose that retake.
Now we have the opportunity to talk about our partners over at Hellcase. If you use the promo codes MaltaV and MaltaV15, you can save more and grab what you deserve. Second round secured by the APEKS side. Eventually, that eco from Dignitas won't even come through. They go for the full force, as they'd have to double eco anyway. So they are going to have Deagles out assisting as scout, but APEKS have a good opportunity now to put a decent number of rounds up on this T side.
Yeah, the money situation is disastrous right now for Dignitas and APEKS. They could definitely swing away. Halsek spots the head, but a little bit too late. Does not get a connection. A lot of damage dealt, though, through blue. Onto Gruss, down to 8 HP. And Truth is also down to 39. Exist is going to play close to that smoke that he just deployed. They're expecting it, though. Dennis will turn around. 180 headshots exist. Unfortunately, exist could not get those deagle connection shots to come through. Get right and is down below at the moment. Will he be able to?
Ooh.
Yes, he will be able to get the head of Dennis. Clean shaven right there. They're all 3 deagles of the side of Dignitas heading towards that B defense. They full bought into this round, so they won't have any money into the next. Are they going to go for the retake? I mean, a couple of players just need one tap against them. For instance, that get right, another headshot through something. I mean, glass in this situation, I guess it was to get the kill. APEKS close range. I mean, they have to try and get out of there, and Get Right could hold that peak all day of the week.
Get Right peeking from window rather than the doors means he can't swing out and assist his teammates who are contesting the other angle. And by APEKS just hiding away and not showing his head towards Get Right, it actually allows them to isolate the engagements down one channel of attack and consolidate both kills rather easily. It's the 3rd round converted for APEKS off the back of that one, and a hard eco on the way from Dignitas means that APEKS are virtually guaranteed 4 here. They're hungry to tie up the scoreline in round number 10, and interestingly enough, they're coming back into things with Gruus yet to frag so far.
Yeah, Gruus is definitely asleep currently. Maybe we'll be able to wake up, especially if they hit that CT cell. But this should be an easy round for APEKS to secure themselves their 4th on the board. It is, well, they have 1 deagle. I think they might actually only have 1 deagle upgrade, which probably would be about right, which is Get Right saved weaponry into the next Dennis. He's looking for some nice eco frags. Tappy, long range tappy, easy cleanup. Oh, Dennis gets a little bit too dangerous there. And that's going to be APEKS chiming in with the last. Again, Gruus, this was a almost full eco, and he did not find a single player to take down. Still running around on that 0, waiting for that beautiful moment when you finally get himself his first frag of this game.
Normally, I don't like to criticize players for not having too many kills because it's usually the in-game leaders and there are reasons for it. But, I mean, that's just not the case at this point in time. Somehow, though, APEKS are winning these rounds despite the lack of fragging. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I suppose, as they are going to come forward in another fall buy. And Dignitas are so limited on utility already. Just 2 smokes, 2 flashes. One of those has been deployed now. And the smoke as well. Dignitas are going to have real trouble holding on to this round if they're going to be going for dry peaks. But Forest has found an excellent kill through the smoke there. Huge impact considering his team have no utility.
Yeah, that's already 1 player with a full utility gone on the side of APEKS. A man advantage, of course. Very useful molly on top of blue. That's going to force Forest back off the angle. Gruus is going to peek in and will drop the bomb right in front of Ven. That's the call made. Ooh. Forest is just holding the line right now. 4 kills. He's going for that ace clutch against Marcellius right now. Does know that Marcellius is holding the angle, but will lose that fight nonetheless. And Marcellius is all on him for his team to turn this one around. He's going to try and play a gap in the smoke. He's actually kind of lost in the smoke. Turns his back around and will get shut down by Get Right, but a great round again. Forest going insane right there on that defense.
Massive plays in the A-bomb site. No flashes either for the CTs to work with. He has to take every engagement dry, and it works out for him until he peaks Marcellius at the end, but he was just going for the bonus frag for his ace at that point in time. 6-4 in the lead. Another buy coming out for APEKS, but Dignitas this time have much more utility to work with. They still have an AWP in the hands of Hulzerk as well. He's holding that outside angle with Marcellius peeking straight into him. He's found the leg, but Marcellius has found the head through the wall.
That is absolutely an amazing shot. Forest does get shut down though by Truth, who pushes out immediately, and that is completely a gift right there on the B side. They start off with the opening frag, but it's in Gruus chimes in with a double and finally gets himself on the board. Yahoo! And with that, APEKS is going to secure their 5th as well. Dignitas on 6, APEKS on 5. They're going to try and save their weaponry. They have no real money left in the bank either, so Dignitas need to keep these rifles alive at all costs.
That really is the case. The loss bonus might be starting to rack up for the Dignitas side a little bit now as well. Get Right's found Dennis, so that means one M4 should be staying alive at bare minimum. Nobody looking like they're going to be contesting Exist all the way back in CT either, so these M4s are coming forward into the next round, but so are 3 AKs for the APEKS side of things. I can see an investment coming through here with Exist having enough to buy an M4. He can drop a weapon and pick himself some stuff back up. They could body armor up on the Dignitas side, but they'd be limiting themselves utility-wise there, so probably want to call for a timeout here and have a bit of a tactical discussion about the buy. You could lose control of the half here, but instead they do go for the full investment. Forest on the auto shotty, and they're going to try and stop APEKS from scoring any more in this half.
Well, Forrest can pick up whatever gun he wants because he's been fragging so heavily so far. It is going to be dangerous angle, of course, walking into that XM. It is a terrifying weapon to deal with if you're the T side. He has had a lot of experience with this big gun right on top of blue as well. Halzik's trying to hold outside with a FAMAS. Not the greatest weaponry on the side of Dignitas, or like decent weaponry pretty much. That's like FAMAS holding long range is terrible, and Forrest can get overwhelmed if they rush through outside into mini. Credit card, Halzik gets spotted out, and there's going to be a push forward. Halzik does drop the bomb though, but Forrest is not going to get spotted just yet. Great flash coming out. Freiburg shuts down Dennis, and Forrest is still on top. Will Truth peak this in time, or will he just get his head chopped off? It will be Forrest reigning supreme. Drops down, picks up the AK. It's all on Marcellus again. Halzer chimes in with a great flank, and Get Right comes up, then shuts down Marcellus, and that is 7 on the board for Dignitas. However, this is APEKS on their T side. They're already about on the same amount of rounds that they had in their previous series to turn this one all around. They only needed 5 when they were playing up against Gamer Legion. Maybe that's enough as well in this matchup against Dignitas.
I have a feeling Dignitas might represent a slightly more significant threat on the T side than Gamer Legion as well, just based on the players that are available in this roster. APEKS, though, they have to take the pistols into this round only. They have deagles and some body armor on 3 players, but 2 are completely unarmored and prone to that aim punch. They're trying to run the bomb down into the B site. Dennis has found a nice opening shot onto Forest. Get Right still here with the AK to contest these gunfights, but he wants to be careful peeking actively like this. These are the kinds of angles that they'll just run out pre-aiming in order to find a headshot. Gruz is on a mental flank as well at the moment. He could find 3 players here on the ramp if he holds the trigger discipline. 1 spotted bare minimum, looking because he knows there are players to his left as well. Comes down the ramp, spams into Halzerk, and only gets 1 for now, but it's enough to confuse the defense. Exist dropping down, however, has taken down Arquez and has the bomb at his feet. He can just defend this, but they wrap into him and overwhelm him. Freiburg, where on earth is he? He's so far away from the B bomb site, and now he needs to 1-on-2 against full rifles.
Yeah, but they do have an op on Gruss versus Freiburg. Gonna be a little bit of that bait and switch game. Freiburg is waiting for the bomb plan to come through. It is gonna be pretty terrifying. Gruss needs to hit that shot to give his team that win. He's been a little bit weaker so far, but it's gonna be the straight peak Deagle versus M4, and the M4 wins. Freiburg clutches that one out 1v2, and that is gonna be 8 for Dignitas so far. Very saddening to see APEKS lose that round, especially with that big flank coming in from Gruss, but only was able to convert it into 1 kill.
2 left in the half now. If APEKS want to make this T side any stronger, this is pretty much their last opportunity to do it, as their bank will be fairly empty heading into the last of the half with a loss here. That was very close, considering it was only 3 Deagles that had armor there. They nearly took down the entirety of this Dignitas squad, and this T side has already filled me with confidence for the APEKS side, even if I'm not quite so confident how they'll perform on Nuke. Looking ahead to Overpass, a map they should have a firm advantage. It's not like they're getting nothing done here against the Dig side. They're not getting totally trampled, and that is very good when you have your pick coming up second in the series.
Yeah, if APEKS managed to win one, maybe two more of the last rounds, they could actually be in a pretty good position. I mean, you did say Dignitas was pretty good on their T side as well, so I will take your word for it. However, APEKS are massively better on their CT side than their T. A complete world of difference with especially Marcelius on the op. It does feel like he's a little bit limited on that T side opping. Last man standing almost every single time. Good smoke of wall of smokes coming out outside. Close range. It is going to be Get Right looking for a gap though. But should not be. Oh, maybe we'll find what Dennis does get spotted out. Get Right finds the only small, tiny mini gap through it. Will almost get caught out by the op though from Marcelius. Marcelius is just going to keep an eye on credit card. Truth has his back to exist. He's going to let him pass through. But if he waited 2 seconds longer, he could have actually caught an APEKS as well. It is still a man advantage for Dignitas, though. And, well, it still is. APEKS gets shut down, but he does get Freiberg beforehand. And the positioning of APEKS with the time left on the clock, it's pretty problematic because Gruss has to get past Forest to get onto one of the two bomb sites.
That's the issue. He's not peeking the right way, but he does readjust correctly for the shots. However, Get Right as the second component of that crossfire has done his job. Bomb recovered by Marcelius quickly indeed. Get Right kind of wrecking himself with that smoke there to try and defend. Marcelius is taking too much time, and that's allowed Get Right to arrive on the flank. 9-5 up. They'll be hunting down the 10-5 scoreline with double digits on their CT side. It's the perfect goal for Dignitas to hunt for, an APEKS with a 6-round scoreline, the optimum target. 5, it's not like they can do nothing with that, but a 6th would definitely be a bonus.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 Mac 10s though at Tech 9, and I guess Marcelius on the Deagle. So very lackluster buy. Might just be a straight rush towards ramp, it seems, and that is going to be their plan. They already have Halsey going down below. Exist is trying to play from the exact same angle, gets a decent amount of damage dealt. The spray from Get Right is going to completely whiff though. The damage is pretty heavily. Wait, APEKS just shot his teammate way later. And yeah, that's going to be a complete shutdown from Forest behind site. 18 kills for Forest, going pretty big in this first half so far. And that is Dignitas 10, APEKS 5. They will really need that pistol on APEKS' side, on the CT side.
Large halves from Forest and Hulzerk to convert that 10-5 CT sign for this Dignitas squad. That, I believe, is better than their CT side was looking up against the Budapest 5 squad earlier on. And now heading on to the T side of things, they were able to put 8 rounds on the board in their T side against the BP5, and they would only need 75% of that number in order to claim victory on this map. Starting off with the T-side pistol would be definitely a huge bonus to getting there. If they got that in the conversions, it's 13-5 up, and that's a nightmare scenario for APEKS to be in, but it's one they've been in already today and come back from.
Yep, it's definitely possible. You do need to see Marcelius wake up a little bit. Gruss actually does have 4 kills now, so a lot better than in the first 8 rounds of this half. Has finally gotten himself a couple on the board. But for the rest, Forrest has been shutting them down. Hulzerk as well. However, Hulzerk is swapping to the tougher side for an opper. I mean, that 4K was absolutely amazing when he defended the B bomb site. But will he be able to do the exact same thing on the T side? We'll have to wait and see. It is going to be problematic. I mean, personally, I find T-opping on this map absolutely terrible. The long-range engagements, especially if you're looking outside towards Heaven, they can be right underneath behind that one box that's there, or they can be down below, and you need to have the perfect pre-peek to win that duel.
You either need the perfect pre-peek, or you need a teammate behind you who's just lobbing flashbangs out on every possible peek to try and blind the opposing AWPer and give you an advantage in those gunfights. The second pistol of the map, and our odds from our partners over at LootBet have come through. It's now more heavily in Dignitas' favor than it was at the start of the first half. With double digits secured in the first, they get this pistol, they'll be well on their way to Inferno.
Yeah, that is, those odds do make a lot of sense, though, with the team difference. Long tap fight from Forest is gonna take a decent amount of damage, though. Exist up on top of silos. What's going to be the game plan of Dignitas? They do have a smoke, a flash, and a nade. They're going to gift away ramp pretty much. Gross is holding that and will go for the long range tap fights. Will win it, though. Shuts down Halzerk. Great opener. Is going to peek out into the open. So the double peek is going to be disastrous for him, of course, if he gets it. You know, it's very hard to win that one. Dualies for Truth. Why do I always see dualies on pistols? Every single time.
It must be a decent weapon for the price.
Don't tell lies.
3-on-3, actually. Forrest got a nice kill back onto Dennis, but Marcelius with a quick one on to Get Right has kept the man advantage in the CT-sided favor. Exist is so paranoid about those dualies, and there's a reason why, as they overwhelm him atop the hut. Forrest peeking heaven with a bomb on his back, needs to hit headshots now, and unfortunately he's not quite managing that at this point. There's a third player rotating in to peek him as well, but he is not needed. Arquez gets it done in the pistol, and Apex have an opportunity now to come back into things and approach a closer scoreline.
A good round from Apex to try and turn this one around. They really needed that pistol. Of course, there's going to be the force up on Dignitas' side. Their deagles are completely, like, absolutely lethal, and you need to be careful every single round of this game. Halzerk's going to be playing the scout, and Apex, they're pretty much just banking on the fact that they will win this with their SMGs, which, of course, it does make a lot of sense that you just go for the SMGs. Halzerk does start off by taking down Marcelius, though, who had the only M4 on the squad, and that one has just been dropped outside. We can quickly see... oh, sorry, it was even an AUG. It wasn't even an M4. Dennis picks up the AUG, and he actually gets tagged by Halzerk as well. Stop taking those long-range fights against the scout. It's going to be Dennis chiming in with a kill, but he's kind of stuck as well. Push forward by Arquez. They might not expect this, and they don't, but Freiburg still turns around, wins that duel. Halzerk gets the shot in on Dennis. It's a 2 versus 5 situation, and Apex, they're crumbling completely to the scout coming through from Halzerk.
They continue to peek the sniper rifle outside to their own detriment. Truth, I think, just about gets the timing there to stay alive. But Get Right's waiting for aggression from his team. He's found hefty damage, but not converted a kill. He was a player with full body armor available, so one of the more important players needing to deal damage for the Dignitas side. But Forrest is stuck around upside for ages, and now he's recovered an AUG for his troubles. As long as he can keep it alive in this engagement up ahead, that is the key factor. Truth, in fact, goes straight forward with the MP9, suspecting this outside play, and that is the only thing that could have recovered this round for Apex. They drop the bomb and leave Forrest in a 1-on-2, but he has the weapon advantage, and of course he gets it done.
Dignitas turn this one around. Pretty much Apex's own blunder for continuously peeking into that scout outside, giving them a 2-man advantage. It is going to be a pretty big disaster for Apex. That was around pretty much a must-need win round to give them even a slight cushion into the next. And with that, Dignitas do have a massive weapon advantage right now. Get Right. Sorry, Freiburg with the Macdown rushing forward is going to jump down vent. That's going to spread your defense thin completely. And now Halzerk has that beautiful AUG that he got the player taken down with twice so far in his hands.
This time it's the Deagles from the CTs trying to deal damage, but Forrest, of course, has the right angle on that smoke spray. Dennis can't get more than one. Forrest is going big in this map. Nearly on 25 kills now. Truth and Gruz yet again. An MP9 and a Deagle with absolutely no utility to work with to try and hold on against all 4 of these Dignitas players. And they definitely have flashbangs on their side. They're advancing into the B bomb site, and that's Gru's the first point of contact with that dig. Has been mollied out, can't hit his opening shot, so takes half damage and might just look at retreating through this round.
Yeah, seems like this one is pretty much over. Bomb's gonna get planted, and Truth and Grus should save their armor and weapons into the next, because they won't have a buy at all. Don't really... Okay, Halzer got killed, but the AUG got retrieved, so there's probably a Mac 10 out there somewhere that Grus could possibly get, maybe drop it to a teammate if he is greedy enough, but he's just gonna save his Deagle and call it a day for now. They should not lose another player on the side of APEKS, and that should be 12-6 in favor of Dignitas on their T side.
And that was after APEKS won the pistol round of their CT half as well. It's not quite a 13-5, but 13-6 is looking very likely now from Dignitas. One more round needed to convert that scoreline, and APEKS aren't going to be buying up to contest against them. They have nothing to work with in terms of cash. So they'll just keep their 2 players on body armor. Dennis will buy a P250, but I can't see much more investment coming out here from the APEKS side, so it's all going to be on their first full gun round. They lose that out, it's 14-6, and they have a broken economy trying to deny map point against their opponent. This round may not be the most important, but the next one certainly will be for this APEKS side.
Yeah, they really need to win the round out after the... Well, this one would be nice if you win it, but it's of course going to be pretty tough. The Grus needs to go pretty big on that Deagle and make a hero play, or Truth down below. They're going to smoke outside and try to cross. The P comes out. Halsig does spot a player towards heaven in Marcelius, and that molly towards Secret is going to force Truth back. Russ already gets taken down. That's the Deagle. Dropped AKs. I think either retrieved it or bought his own. I don't really know, but Heaven has been gifted away right now to Halzerk. And Marcelius does not expect Halzerk to be up top. So with that, it's pretty much just waiting for APEKS to walk into these Dignitas crosshairs to win, to finish the round.
Yeah, right, it's taking down Arquez as well now. Truth and Dennis, the last 2 left alive, and it's just Dennis with his P250. The only investment made by APEKS in the round, and he's going outside to try and find an unsuspecting head with it, but Get Right is even waiting for this aggression here. He's lined up, waiting for Dennis. I think just spotted the hat as well, and converts the kill easily. 13-6 found, and now this full gun round, vital for APEKS to win. If they lose it, we're heading quickly onto their pick of Overpass.
Yeah, Overpass is definitely a possible win for APEKS. Dignitas have a very poor showing in the last 3 months on it, though the last time we saw them play, they absolutely destroyed on it. I would have to say that if it goes to Vertigo, it is pretty much anyone's game, because APEKS are amazing on Vertigo. Dignitas have a very good score on it as well, but APEKS is by far their best map.
And they'll be glad that it's waiting in the wings as a potential decider, but they'll need to get through their pick first. And while Overpass isn't comfortable territory for Dignitas, we might still not be heading there just yet, as Dennis is doing hefty amounts of work in this gun round. A friendly dink does come through, but at least they do convert the kill. Now Truth spam can find so much damage, but Freiburg plays so smart and punishes the tracers. Down in the vent is Halzerk on a Mac 10, and he's hunting down some CT players, but Arquez has found Get Right at the expense of most of his HP, but he's kept the man advantage for his side, and this double setup towards control room could be a huge problem for the Dignitas squad.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty painful moment. Does he expect Grus? No, he does not. Grus close range versus Freiburg will shut them both down and gets himself a double. Picks up an AK for his troubles. And APEKS, they're still in this game. This is close to the scoreline that they completely came back in from the previous series as well. So they're definitely not out of it yet. Yeah, Alzuk had absolutely no idea. He saw, oh, he had a nice gun. I want to upgrade. Runs forward into the Grus crosshairs and will get shut down. And with that, we do have Halzuk picking up the op. And Marcel is still not on a Op himself. So that is the only big problem that APEKS have. Marcelius just never has the weapon that he needs. He never has his prime weapon ready. Marcelius is actually heavily tagged already and drops down secret to escape.
Damage taken by Marcelius, but the fact that all 5 are still alive for APEKS, that's what's important. Even at weapon disadvantage, they still have plenty of utility to work with. That smoke in mini indicates to APEKS that Dignitas are going for hefty outside control at the moment. And in the lobby, GetRight awaits the aggression of Dennis and wins his engagement as well. That's the opening kill now secured by the T side of things, and pretty much for free, as GetRight can back away here into a more passive angle and wait for any further lobby aggression that may come through and go further out into T spawn. Instead, Truth, he's having a peek outside. He might want to have a look with his teammate to see what's going on here, and they've turned away at the wrong moment, but APEKS is struggling with the spray down. Forrest has jumped down and got both of them. Gruss takes down Freiburg, but it's man advantage to the T side. Unless Gruss can do anything from heaven, he won't find any shots for the moment, as this MP9 in lobby is being flanked by GetRight. He's on the way, but could still deny the plant, Marcelius. GetRight misses out the timing on that one, and misses out the timing on his shot now as well. The nade could even kill him here. Takes him down to just 8 HP, but they can't find the damage. Forrest and GetRight have just over 40 HP between them, and Marcelius and Gruz has shut them down. APEKS stay alive on the CT side.
GetRight just missed the move into blue, could not relay the information, it seems, and with that, it's going to be Marcelius even saving that op. A pretty, I mean, that was a massively lucky round for APEKS that they just slid in through, because that looked like it was going to be all over for them. Now they do have the superior weaponry. It's going to be an eco for Dignitas, op in hand for Marcelius, and finally he is ready to start fragging as well. Will get aggressive. That's the opening pick that they always will need from him, and a very good shot indeed. Dennis will get himself forced as well, and now it's just, I mean, it was an eco anyway, so it's pretty much just free frags. Mainly Gruss can chime in. He's on 12 frags all of a sudden. His CT side vastly outweighs his T side presence.
Already had twice as many kills on this CT half than he earned at the end of his T side. GetRight's heard out Arquez above him and now spotted him as well. So that's one free kill on the A-bomb site. Actually, maybe a plant, but Dennis is saying no to that prospect. An M4 recovered by GetRight, but no free headshot for him. Instead, it's Dennis with the triple kill to put APEKS on 9 and begin to narrow that gap. But the Dignitas squad, they have cash in the bank, but perhaps not to justify a full investment. This might still need to be a Deagle armor round from them as they call a useful timeout. It's an effectively placed one, as they still have a couple left remaining in the map. This is a good opportunity to try and slow things down a little bit and take away some momentum from APEKS.
And they're gonna definitely need to shut that down, because APEKS, they're looking really good right now. Their CT side is rather solid. Marcelius feels a little bit more active as well with the op. That opening kill was pretty nice. I mean, they could go for a decent buy on Dignitas, however, the utility is going to be lackluster. GetRight should get full utility, but Exist, unless he buys a Galil or something, he's going to have no utility whatsoever. He's going to buy that Galil, and they are going to force it up. They have utility enough, pretty much, to try and force out one of these sites. Oh, flashes, mollies raining through, but no real damage done. Freiburg a little bit tagged thanks to that nade outside, but besides that, APEKS will be holding this defense. They're already in the positions that they want. Halzuk's going to go for a smoke outside, and seems they're going to try and make that cross happen.
That's 2 smokes down. They need a third, though, to cover that gap, and Gruz has found GetRight very early on indeed. There is a massive gap there. Why have they just left that? How on earth has Marcelius missed a shot? That could have been a definite punishment there. I don't know how Dignitas have gotten away with crossing. Forrest still has a smoke in his hand, but they decide they want to save it for the late round scenario, that could have been a free kill for the APEKS side. Instead, it's still only one man advantage for the CTs, but Marstellius is still lurking around outside. They expect there to be more peaks from Dignitas on the high ground just now.
Yeah, Marcelius does expect the player still to be outside, peeking towards his hell area, which is going to be Forrest walking forward. Close range. Has to hit that shot. Is actually just going to fall back towards ramp room. And Gruss is holding the heaven position. So he should get a duel going in with Forrest, but the flash comes in. Flash is off the mark, it seems, but he still does. Okay, maybe it wasn't. It didn't look like he was blinded, but they still do have truth in the sight. And APEKS, they both chime in for kills. APEKS towards Vents. It's all on Freiburg. 1v2 clutch needs to be made. Dennis wins that spray battle, and it's APEKS on double digits. Really pushing Dignitas back, and this should start to look like scary territory for the Dignitas T side.
Absolutely. This CT half from APEKS has been very impressive. The young Norwegian boys being led by Dennis in terms of frags at the moment. 20 kills for that Swedish player. But on the other side of things, Forrest is nearly on 30 himself. 29 at the moment. One more needed for the 30 bomb. And Dignitas are going to try and use pace to overwhelm the A-bomb side. They've rushed through with the pistols. But Arquez is here holding out for kills. Dennis in mini as well can get them back. And it is cleaned up by Gruz at the end. No bomb plant allowed, no bonus cash for Dignitas, but a full buy coming out either way.
Wait, is it Gruz or Gruss? I don't know.
I think it's Gruz because it is short for Grusan. So that is, I think, how we're supposed to be pronouncing it.
Okay, then I'll try to remember groups. What Groot?
That's from Guardians of the Galaxy. Not quite a Counter-Strike reference going on there, but get right. He's found an opener, so has Freiburg as well. Uh-oh, for APEKS, the streak, the comeback, now in danger as Truth looks to aggress. Get right, though. He's holding on. He's looking at the rear, but instead it's Freiburg who takes down Gruz. Truth will find one kill onto him, but it's a 1v3 to put 12 on the board for APEKS, and their cash isn't in the healthiest spot.
Yeah, Truth, a 1 versus 3 situation. As you said, their money is lackluster. He kind of needs to save this, otherwise he might actually want to try and find Marcellus' op, though. Unless Halzuk picked it up, but I'm not really 100% sure on that. It's going to be a nade onto Halzuk, but he does not expect Forrest to peek out wide to keep an eye on control, and with that, the money is completely destroyed on APEKS. They really, really, really needed him to save that weapon and not attempt the 1v3 play. I mean, he had 2 kills. He just needed to save that. And that puts APEKS in trouble city.
It really does. This is map point now, potentially, for Dignitas. Well, more than potentially. Probably. As they have superior advantages in every field other than player advantage at the moment, but it's not too long until they gain the advantage in that area as well, you have to imagine. With these AKs and all available against unarmored pistols, they can't expect to be doing too much. And APEKS, it's definitely a valiant attempt on the CT side, but just 1 round loss is enough to send them into a downward spiral as their economy just can't sustain it.
Forrest also hit that 30 bomb, 32 frags so far, 2 KD, and make that 33 kills. Chops up Dennis's head. Easy kill, easy cleanup. And I mean, they are up against pistols. Marcellus actually still rushes through, gets the kill onto Halzuk though. But it should be pretty much all over unless Truth goes absolutely insane, which is, you know, pretty hard to do with a Deagle, no armor. Will get shut down. APEKS towards Mini will be taken out by Forrest as well. 35-16. This guy is absolutely... I mean, you would never say that the player is 32 years old. Like, he is still... It looks like he's in his prime with his plays coming through.
You've got more frags than he is on his side at the moment as well. Just absolutely performing amazingly at this level and really showing that he still has it in terms of the aim. 15 to 11 Dignitas now with the opportunity to close out this first map early. The nade is blocked, which means the door won't get broken. I can't see quite where that's going to have impact at the moment. It means they can't go early into the vent, but Gruz here is in a pivotal spot, gets a multi-kill. Triple for the MP9, the only SMG of the side as well. Freiburg, he gets one back towards Mini. Forest has taken down Gruz, but now it's a 1v3 for Forest, and APEKS, they might just be hungry for overtime.
If they're smart, APEKS play for that retake scenario. No, don't try to deny it with a quick rush peek. Forrest accidentally canceled it, and there's going to be the spray coming through. Marcelius, his teammate breaks open the door, and Marcelius just peeks in. Here's Marcelius, and shuts down Forrest. That's going to be 12 on the board for APEKS, 3 more for OT. Will we be able to reach OT, Protalis?
All about this next gun round. If APEKS win it, it's Dignitas then down in the dumps economically, and it's a very high likelihood. Grisan, this aggressive position, absolutely amazing. Now his team are 3 away from forcing overtime, but they do still have a fully bought Dignitas to get through in this one, and it was a lucky positional play in that last round that yielded them so many kills. Forrest now peeking outside with his AK, so hungry for frags to convert this for his team, but for now APEKS aren't going to peek into them.
Yeah, this is a defense deep from Dennis. They need to make this round work on APEKS, because I mean, yes, they do have an advantage on overpass, but you don't really have an advantage against Dignitas, of course. It is gonna be an outside execute coming through. Smokes are gonna hold the cross. That means Dennis still could have the angle here. I think Exist does expect him to be around the corner. Yes, he does. He's gonna peek it, and Dennis, he has to go pretty big. And that's one. Does only get the one, though. Was completely outnumbered towards garage. And Hulzerk outside with the op, where I think they're pushed aggressively in towards lobby. Yeah, Gruz does have that angle. Truth is going to walk into Hulzerk's angle. And Get Right is forever holding the push. Like, he's forever holding that flank.
It's the man advantage for Dignitas. With this flank being held, the likelihood that Get Right yields a kill from that angle was relatively high, but now he's going to push in, and he has won the timing. What heroic efforts from Get Right now to find Arquez in the vents with a 2-on-4 on their hands. Gruz has rotated up to the A site at the perfect time. They're going to commit to the plant, but he can't deny it. Freiburg body blocks, uses the bodyguard tactic, dives in front of his teammate on 1 HP, survives the engagement. Hulzerk takes down Marcelius, and that's our first map victory. 16 to 12 going the way of Dignitas. We have Overpass up next as a second map right after this quick break.
Lock and load. Wow, very good. Let me show you how it is done. Yeah, no. Woo, damn! That was one of the best nickel fights I've been to.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Malta Vibes, brought to you by Gaming Malta, a home of gaming excellence. APEKS definitely attempted the comeback there on Nuke, but unfortunately were unable to pull it off against Dignitas. So now we're heading into a second map of the series. It is the pick of APEKS on this second map of Overpass, and they have the firm advantage on it. My name is Protales, and joining me again is DK Truman.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting map. Of course, it's the map pick of APEKS, so they should feel more comfortable on that map as they did in the previous. It is still not that big of an advantage, though they, it's of course their pick, but the difference between percentages between the two teams is very minimal. They did choose a map that Dignitas just mainly have a bad score on. That's what they went for. They didn't go for their own advantage. They went for the enemy's disadvantage. And let's see if it's going to be paying off on this one. It is going to be, of course, a tough one because, well, Dignitas really, I mean, the way that they played in the previous map, they looked insane, especially Forest, out of this world. Surprisingly enough, both sides have a little bit more advantage on the T side of Overpass. But what are your thoughts on this upcoming map?
I think that APEKS have the better chance of taking this particular map in the series as long as their players do show up early and start fragging. If you end up in a scenario where Dignitas start on the T side and you give them a hefty round score at the beginning of this map, we've seen it before exactly what they can do with T-sided momentum. They'll just clean through and 2-0 this series. So for my money, regardless of the half that APEKS start on, I need to see something impressive in the first 10 rounds. I need to see players who are catching my eye, and I need to see consistently won gunfights by the primarily Norwegian roster. Otherwise, it's going to be Dignitas 2-0ing this series, because you're absolutely right in that this pick isn't necessarily a strength for APEKS.
Yeah, and with that, we are heading off to the knife round, which is just about to start. Of course, as previously mentioned, it doesn't really matter that much if you're starting on the CT or T side. I would say CT does have the slight advantage op-wise because there are so many quick angles that you can peek in, which Marcel is really, I mean, he needs to start waking up for his team. Groos actually did manage to wake up in the previous map as well, but they need their star opper, their top HLTV scorer, to absolutely step up. There's gonna be a big knife fight going on, but Halsig will get taken down by APEKS, and I would assume APEKS are gonna start on that coveted CT side.
I imagine that will be the case as well, and although, there we go, they are starting on that CT side, it does come through, and Dignitas on the T side of things, it's all about aggression early on. In the one map that they've won in the last 3 months against the Izako Boars, we got to cast that one, and it was all about aggression, really. Exist on that MAC-10, he barely ever had an AK. He was just going in first with the SMG, getting the info, and a lot of times getting the kills as well, just dominating the individual gunfights against that Izako Boars squad. And while it is APEKS who have the more advantageous win rate on this map, they're a little bit troubled recently. They've only won one of their previous 4 matchups, and that's against a Singularity side who's in a bit of turmoil at the moment, roster-wise. So there could potentially be weaknesses on map that Dignitas are looking to exploit.
It's not like this is specifically an APEKS powerhouse map either. As you said, they have lost their fair share of rounds on this map in the past, but it will definitely be an interesting one to boot, because it pretty much comes down to which of the two teams sucks less on this map based on their percentages. But percentages don't tell the entire story. For instance, the teams that these two teams are facing up against, Dignitas normally do have to face up against stronger, tougher opponents than APEKS, for instance. You also had the player break where a long pause has been made for Dignitas. And as you said, the most previous map that we did see them play, well, the most recent time that we did see them play Overpass on was up against the Izako Boars, which they did completely crush predominantly. However, look at those odds.
Our partners over at LootBet, they seem to think that things are pretty even here, just about giving APEKS the edge, but there's really not much in it whatsoever. And that is the case for my money. I think the odds are going to get much more in either side's favor as soon as we see what the starts of this half is going to be like. At the 5-round mark, I'm going to have a much better inclination as to who's turning up in terms of kills, what kind of an APEKS have come forward into Overpass, because we know they have the ability to go big and perform as a team unit, but they also have the ability to get trapped in their own heads a little bit and fall apart when their opponents start dominating them.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be these long range taps. They need to shut down this T push, but Get Right starts it off with a nice frag, and they'll take down Truth as well. The A side's completely lost immediately, and it should be an easy bomb plant coming in. So a retake scenario for the boys at APEKS. Headshot done by Halzik, falls back, and the damage has been dealt. I mean, APEKS, they're gonna try for it, it seems, but oh no, APEKS is actually already on the save train right now, trying to take that kit and smoke into the next round. And that pretty much does sum it up. They just got overwhelmed immediately when they pushed towards that A site. They will get a frag for their trouble on Marcelius. USP in hand, on the run, trying to save his armor. And, well, if he gets another fadeaway kill, that would be a pretty big plus, because he needs to get as much money in his back pocket for that op later on.
Marcelius does take down Exist at the end of the round, but in the pistol, it really doesn't matter that Dignitas are losing players, because they're going to have the weaponry advantage heading forward into this next round anyway. Ulzerk has enough cash to get himself an AK and head armor. I'm not sure whether anyone else can justify such a significant purchase. Exist certainly can, but Freiburg is dropping down onto a Galil. A very nice second round for the T side to have in the bag. Meanwhile, APEKS, they're going to be bringing through 2 scouts and deagles to support them. Opening shot not landed by Dennis as his nade looks to do more damage, but the shots on Marcelius can't quite find kills just yet. The MP5s have arrived now to deal damage, and eventually they do so. They take him down, but Truth replies imminently with that deagle.
Yeah, that was a nice kill indeed, but a lot of damage dealt to Dignitas as well. Halswick down to 2 HP. Probably should swap guns with Get Right, but is not going to do it just yet. Will get tapped down by APEKS on the site. Will deal some damage to Get Right, who is down to 16 HP as well. Finished off by Cruz, and Freiburg, close range. The APEKS squad turned this one around. It all started towards that A-long area, but they just did not push fast enough. I mean, that site, they just slow peeked it one by one. Look at that. Headshot and then close range. Another one. Not that both of those needed headshots. Body shots were enough, but it's just nice to see, you know. It also gives you a little bit of that extra confidence.
Well, that round one immediately back by the APEKS side. That is definitely a relief for them, but it's not going to stop Dignitas from full buying into the round. They have deagles now and a scout of their own to work with, but at the moment, they're not finding much damage. Instead, just staying within T-spawn to dodge that Molotov, but it's given Marcelius a lot of room to maneuver in playground. Get Right anticipates the positioning, but can't take down the player, and now he needs one more kill before death to make this valuable. He doesn't secure it and drops an M4A4 over to the T side.
That's a solid trade for Dignitas right there, getting themselves an M4. They have armor behind it, and Freiburg will even be able to pick up the scout that Get Right just dropped. So all in all, still a very solid possibility for Dignitas. It's going to be that long-range peak. Dennis scout versus Freiburg scout. I think Freiburg is just out of body tag one-shot range, so he should be fine for a first tag, but he's playing very far passively.
They do sort of have to against these deagles. They don't want to give away another free kill early on and another rifle that Dignitas are going to be able to use with the sight attack. Dennis has found Freiburg, and Truth gets Holzerk. I think this round may now be over unless Forrest decides he wants to take over with his M4A4. Can't get any kills with it, and Exist is cleaned away. APEKS, they are bailed out of their early CT side by that second round, and now they should convert the easy 3-1.
Yeah, Yeah, this should be an easy eco push coming forward. Also, no extra money on Halsik, so that won't be an op buy into the next. Marcelius picks himself up an SMG. Needs to rake in some extra cash so that he can afford his own one. Which, if he dies because of overaggression, they might actually just drop him into the next one, an op, because, as we said, overpass, it is very crucial to have those quick peeks with that big green stick to try and shut down your opponent. And it is, yeah, they're playing just that passive hold, waiting for all the utility to be expended on Dignitas before they're going to go for a peek. Unfortunately, they don't really have that great weaponry. Truth is forced out in the open. Will get shut down by Exist. But the last man standing all the way in the back is Get Right, of course. And he has to, well, at least get one more kill. That would be nice, but I doubt that he will. He's trying to tap Marcelius, but Dennis shuts him down. And Dennis starts off the first 4 rounds with 6 kills to his name. Not a bad opener for APEKS after losing that pistol.
Not at all, and now Dignitas are bringing out the full guns to try and make something work on this T side. But APEKS, they're certainly passing the eye test for me so far. I haven't had to see them in a full gun round just yet, though. So when they perform with the rifles, that's when I'll know a little bit more about what's going on in the rest of the series. For now, though, it does bode well for APEKS. If they can convert this round, they're almost set to have a strong CT side. If they do it cleanly, it's definitely a good sign early on against those AKs. The only thing really missing from that buy is a T-sided AWP, but a lot of the times you can see teams in the current meta just use only rifles on the T side to have a little bit more mobility, to just be closer with that trade fragging and avoid having an isolated player who gets his head taken off.
The only problem I'm seeing right now for Dignitas is that they're running a little bit low on utility. Get Right gets a nade on his face, down to 56 HP. Not gonna move an inch. Nerves of steel right there. But yeah, they are edging towards that A side. Might go for a fake out. They have themselves 2 smokes and 3 flashes. Not the greatest utility to flush out a site on this map. That nade coming through, though. Get Right's getting forced off the angle, and a great retake of that B short angle. So now they know Get Right usually plays alone because he's the solo lurker. So you could expect the rest of the team to be on the other side of the map, and that is exactly the case right here. Marcelius with the op does need to chime in with a couple of frags here. Halsik will get himself the first, but Marcelius has given away his position on site. Will get himself a double for his trouble, and Dennis peeks out wide. Will shut them both down and clutch this one out on the site. Does save the op for his team. APEKS 4, Dignitas 1, and now Dignitas all of a sudden looking in trouble.
They are, APEKS, much more awake on this CT side than they appeared to be even on Nuke, with a 4-1 lead. The first gun round lost. It's not all over for Dignitas. There's still plenty of time in the half, and Dignitas do appear to be a side that does get off to slow starts, but starts to wake up later on in the match. That's what's happened against the Budapest 5 in their first map of the day, and they're looking to deploy utility to use pace to overwhelm their opponents in the B-bomb site. They have triple nades available, waiting to deploy to that boost position, but for now there's no one on APEKS there to receive them.
It is gonna be a quick rush towards that B side. They need to be very wary because that Deck 9 close range is terrifying. APEKS only gets 1. Luckily Dennis, oh wait, he only gets 1 as well. They do manage to deal a decent amount of damage, but it's an op from Marcellus in heaven. Bomb's gonna get planted by Forrest right behind sandbags. Missed shot from Marcellus gives away the intel, and will they be able to shut him down? A player moves towards Monster. Close range. There's one more, but they don't expect him. Luckily, Truth whiffs the shots, and it is gonna... Exist whiffs the shots, and it is gonna be an easy defuse retake from APEKS. Kind of a bad post plant right there from Dignitas. Should have had a lot more going for them, especially with the player advantage on their side, but their post plant was lackluster at best.
Unfortunately for Dignitas, it was, and that's allowed Perhaps the closest round so far to swing again in APEKS's favor. The gun round coming out now, though, at least they dealt decent damage in the last, so they forced that reinvestment. It's not enough to confirm an eco round in the next should APEKS lose, but perhaps Dignitas now only need to win 2 consecutively to force that, rather than perhaps the 3 they may have if all 5 CTs continued to remain alive and win rounds. Marcelius has stayed aggressive for a very long time with this AWP. Traditionally, you see the AWPers having fallen away a long time ago by now. Instead, he sticks around, though, but he doesn't get punished. It's actually Arquez in Monster who takes damage, but no kills found. Rotation's actually coming back in, as it was a relatively heavy presence towards A, now readjusting perhaps towards the B bomb site, although it looks like they've guessed it wrong. They've rotated onto the wrong site here. I thought they were rotating down from A. They were rotating up from B, and now the bomb site's been given away for free.
That should, honestly, at this moment with all the players alive, I would just say call the save. Like, never mind, Groose does get the shot through the smoke, but it is still... Look at the post plants at the moment from the boys at Dignitas. They should have this locked down, unless there's a big mistake being made. Halzer is going to shut down Groose. Close range Freiburg sprays to his heart's contempt, and it's all on Marcelius, who's going to get shut down. That is going to be a full shutdown in favor of Dignitas, and they will get themselves their second, with APEKS having a decent amount of weaponry into the next.
Now we have the opportunity to talk about our case partners over at Hellcase, the biggest and most well-known case opening platform with nearly 100 cases, updated case battle upgrader, dozens of giveaways per month, and loads more unique features. Dignitas, they win 1 gun round, but they need another one here in order to break that APEKS economy. The lack of saved weaponry is going to hurt that CT bank quite substantially if they lose this round.
Halzer went for the quick peek, trying to get the shot in on Marcelius. Did spot him out, but did not get the shot connection. And they have given away Fountain completely. So there's only one real angle that Dignitas can push through, and that is, of course, going to be connector upwards if needed. But they are stacking towards that B side completely on APEKS, because, of course, they have the intel that there's no way they could have actually moved towards A at all with the positions of Dennis and Truth.
Utility slightly thin for the CT side. A couple of smokes left, one of which is on Marcelius, so they can delay a B execution with utility if they want to. And you can see they're really worried about a B hit here. Look how aggressive Truth is in the playground, and Dennis as well towards top connector. They're basically waiting for this B execution to come in so that he can wrap down and deal with the B short players, but they don't expect Exist to anticipate that. And now Get Right's going to go for a boost over to Barrels. That is a second kill found in the round, and Halzerk has opened up onto Truth aggressive as well. This gives information to Dignitas now that all of those players are rotating into B to help defend. It's very likely that the A bomb site is thinned out substantially. They wait for somebody to rotate over, perhaps to defend, but instead they are going to walk into these 2 Norwegian riflers. AKES has found a huge double kill, and Marcelius has found one onto Forest. They gamble and walk into the site they know has players in it, and they're being torn apart, but Exist, the one man who bails them out of that situation.
They had 7 seconds left. They just needed to stay alive, but Exist with the big flank coming through heaven shuts him down right on time. The time was so close, but APEKS gets shut down. Wait, let's see. Look at that defense from AKES, and then Marcelius chimes in with the op shot as well. Perfectly done, but never mind. It was even 4 seconds left on the clock. That's how close that round was. Down to the wire. Luckily, Exist chimes in the hero play from the IGL to secure his team that win.
And this could be big now for the Dignitas T side. They forced APEKS onto that eco, and now they can close down a quite comfortable scoreline at the end of the first half as well. This could be very interesting still here on Overpass. Interestingly enough, though, they are both T-sided teams here, so perhaps APEKS still have their stronger side in the back pocket, and with rounds still yet to play in this first half, they can still put a decent performance out. They're stacking in towards A main in this round, and Groos has found 1 kill at minimum onto Freiburg. Forrest is trying to make sure he doesn't get taken down by USPs, but he can't stop it until Exist arrives to help him out. The bomb's going to be in the meanwhile, but it's decent damage found by APEKS.
Yeah, because Exist is tagged so heavily, he can't go for the repeat to try and shut down those USBs. They'll just play it safe, go for the bomb plant, win the round. Don't go for that greedy play. It might cost you a little bit too much. They don't have a lot of money in their bank anyway. So this is the correct call. Just immediately run down connector and close that squeaky door and just dip out. Because, well, they get their prizes. They get themselves 2 AK save. Very big round from APEKS with their investment. Yeah, solid defense so far. But now another gun round comes through. And let's see if this one is going to go down to the wire as well. Because Dignitas like playing with their time a lot.
APEKS would like not to lose control of this map, as that would mean they'd be 2-0'd in this series and be heading down into the decider matchup later on in the day. Dignitas close to tying up this T-side scoreline at 5-5 now. There's no cash to get Marcelius and Orp unless Groos decides he doesn't want body armor in the round, which makes no sense from a tactical perspective. So they put him on an M4 instead, pick up the armor across the board, and have a healthy amount of utility to work with in this round as well. Nice jump boost there. This could be big for Holzerk, actually, getting an advanced position ahead of an early CT peak. However, perhaps the gods communing there with Marcelius and telling him not to go for that underpass push.
Oh, wow. Freiburg does get the headshot on AKAS. Gross does chime in to kill off Exist, though. So a 4 versus 4. Both teams lose 1 player. Of course, Exist came in with that hero play earlier, so pretty painful to watch him fall. But they're going to be using their utility to try and flush out the players towards B short. However, Get Right is too quick on that flick and will shut down his opponents easily. And now towards that B side, it does seem like they're rotating, ready to get their ASAP. We have Marcelius, the last one on A side, could rotate towards B very quickly though. But Heaven will most likely just get smoked off. They do have plenty of utility on Dignitas' side to flush out this. Both sides very easily as well.
2 players in the B bomb site, but we saw just how much damage they can do previously. It took Exist's flank to bail them out of that last B execution, and Gruss finding the first kill there onto Forest means it's going to be a 3v3 late round scenario. Great Molotov to the back of barrels, but nobody's taken down the aggressive player. Dennis now behind the pillar is looking for damage, but it is Gruss to fire out again and kill Freiburg. Dignitas have been denied entry to this B bomb site. They're going to try and go up to A, but they've realized they don't even have the bomb on their backs. Freiburg's dropped that out in the B site, and this round is now over for Dig.
Good defense from APEKS. Dignitas again playing too long with their time. They're not peeking together. They just pretty much went for 1v1 duels towards Monster in the end, and that was easy pickings for Groos to to just hold the line there for his squad. And with that, Marcellus is going to be able to secure himself an op into the next one and another full buy between the 2 squads. Most of the utility is available on both teams as well, so this is a pretty big one because both squads are low on funds as well. Freiburg actually on the Galil, which is of course a little bit weaker, but not that weak that it is terribly and terrifying. However, how are they going to be able to defend against this? Dignitas loves to play down that clock, which is, of course, very dangerous if you do not have that push or if you drop the bomb by accident, which has happened a couple of times so far, so they need to be careful on their moves. It does seem that they're going to head towards that A site this time, though. With a full execute coming through, at least smokes and flashes to get close. Marcelius with that op is going to get shut down. Truth on the site will get the kill onto Fry, but can't be wide. Wants to go back towards long, but there is Get Right to shut him down. And on site, Dennis, easy taps to the head, even almost takes down Forrest, trying to jiggle peek around the smoke before it gets rid of Groose. Great flash from APEKS to give Dennis the opportunity to take that win, and now Exist towards Truck will find one. They know that APEKS is playing around the truck, but Exist chimes in with a second, and that's going to be a shutdown for Dignitas. 5 in their favor, and APEKS's money is lackluster again.
Dignitas keeping this very competitive indeed on their T side of the map. 1 round away from tying up the scoreline, and without economic investment from APEKS, it's very likely that Dignitas are going to be able to accomplish it as well. Truth and Dennis are going to pick up some deagles, but Dennis is having no body armor. He's saving bonus cash to pick up an AWP and drop it to his teammate in an upcoming round. This should be 6-6 for Dignitas, and 6 minimum on the T side of Overpass is not too bad, but it is a side that you could be winning, side advantages or not. So both squads at the moment in a little bit of peril. APEKS perhaps more so, as they risk loss in the series with the loss here on Overpass.
Yeah, this is dangerous. Exist is holding that flank. Truth does get the headshot in, and the bomb is actually on top of that ladder, but he's not going to push forward. He's just going to relocate his position, give his team another shot. You know, these deagles can still be terrifying, especially on Dennis, the pistol meister, that still lurks around on this B site as well. They are going to head towards that B site. It is going to be a 2 versus 4 defense, but look at Truth's position. They know that it's going to be a B push. Truth is actually on a flank. It's a slightly bit slow flank, but it's going to be there nonetheless. The flash comes through. APEKS is still playing around that pillar, trying to find himself a player. Well, Dennis at least finally gets himself a kill, and with that, it's most certainly going to be the round win for Dignitas, evening it out 6-6. We even see Truth trying to save, I guess. Oh, he was actually looking for the weapon from Exist that dropped.
Couldn't find it though, which means Dignitas must have disposed of that weapon. He's now just on the deagle and hoping they try and exit the B-bomb site through Monster, but that is a rather unlikely scenario, at least for the moment. They might just end up peeking into him eventually, but he backs away now. To take a more passive angle, worried that he's being hunted himself. 6-6 confirmed in this half, despite APEKS going 3-1 up and losing the pistol round at the start of the map. It's been incredibly back and forth so far on Overpass, and now both sides are fighting for the lead. If Dignitas could take it, it would be the first time they've been ahead since the pistol round.
I'm still looking for that gun all over the place, see if they tossed it up there, but they did not. I actually have no idea where they tossed the gun. But yeah, this is going to be another buy round coming in. Marcellius, they're going to go double op. Groose picks one up, and Marcellius picks up an op. Okay, it's going to be Truth picking up the op instead, it seems. They're just swapping around, deciding who's going to be playing that big green stick. But the double op setup is very doable on this map. You've got the quick peek towards mid. You can anchor 1A, 1B very easily as well. Reasonable long-range positions to deal with. Smoke towards B short. Nice one to make sure that the molly gets extinguished immediately, and Get Right is rushing hard towards that B short, which is now his domain, and he's probably going to stay there for like the entirety of the map.
If Exist can take control of Connector, that's total short presence earned by the Dignitas squad. It was an early stack into the B bomb site actually, but now they've rotated Truth's secondary AWP up towards A. It's the right call to stack 3 people in B though, as it's the site that Dignitas have favored much more heavily. They want to go aggressive into Get Right here. I think he's just backed away without being spotted. That could be huge because it could sell that an A execution is going on. APEKS might even start rotating around now after Marcellius gets just 1 kill. Dennis is going back up to the A site, and Gruss is holding a more passive position. Now he's going to go back into B, as they're aware it could be a readjustment from Dignitas.
They went for the double op. They're still playing the double op setup towards that A site, letting B be defended by the rifles. But as you said, perfect read that Dennis is rotating towards that B side. The execute comes out. Gruss in the smoke, will get himself 2 kills, triple kill coming in to chime in, and Gruss, sorry, I keep saying Gruss, 10 kills so far, definitely stepped up since that T side on Nuke previously, where he got absolutely nothing done. Now he's definitely awake, and he's been holding that B defense pretty effectively most of these rounds as well.
AK with head armor for exist, but it's just pistols for the rest of Dignitas. Actually, they do manage to farm out one more AK. They'll put that in Get Right's hands, but those have to be finding frags in this round. Otherwise, it's incredibly likely to be the 9-6 half for APEKS at the end of things. No opening kill found early, and AKES has actually just spotted out the players on short as well. That's going to draw a double rotation now into the B bomb site, and it'll be Dignitas attacking a heftily defended region if they choose to aggress. Gruz has taken down that peak from Exist as well. AK recoverable, but man disadvantage already.
Well, Get Right does chime in and shuts down a player. Never mind, it's back down to Gruss getting himself 2 in that round. Nade lands on to Get Right, finishes him off. And Marcelius and Truth both chime in with their big green sticks. The double op setup definitely was the right call, it seems, because they've been taking these last 2 rounds so far, and it is a last round of the half. Dignitas, no money left in the bank, and this is probably going to be something along the lines of a full-on rush or the likes, because their utility is going to be weak and they need to pretty much expend it all to try and overwhelm their opponents.
Well, they need that utility to be perfectly placed if they hope to overcome the advanced firepower. That's a hefty tag found onto Marcelius, though. He has to back away, lucky to be alive at the moment, as this AK looks for the kills on B short instead. Exist taken down first, so it is the early man advantage towards the APEKS CT side, and they continue their efforts to convert this 9th round. Dennis finding Freiburg as well makes it all the more likely, and Dignitas, they've put 6 up on the T side. It's not nothing to work with, but they really like the pistol round of the second half. Otherwise, APEKS are very likely to be taking us to Vertigo.
It does seem like a Truth is trying to go for the peak. Does not spot anyone out, but that's because his peak was not high enough. 2 players very close. We'll go for that B push, it seems. However, Gruus, he is absolutely awake right now. Does recover his spray and will end that half with a decent scoreline. 3 kills for him in the last round, 9-6 in favor of APEKS. Dignitas now going on to the CT side. If they win the pistol, of course, the score is going to be even. If they lose it, they might be in trouble.
That's certainly the case. Exist the top fragger the last time we casted Dignitas on this map, and he's the top fragger of the T side. 11-4-11, going big on the entries, but the rest of the squad not able to follow things up. Meanwhile, it's only the IGL for APEKS who struggled to find double digits in that half, and they have near perfect ping as well, which probably isn't going to be too much of a benefit. It's just pretty weird to see that everybody is so close to the server and getting along with things. Gruz, we're seeing these headshots that opened up the round and then continued on the B-bomb site. Dignitas, they definitely showed strength towards the middle of that half, but once APEKS got back control of their economy, they were pretty convincing on the CT side. So for the Dignitas squad, in order to claim victory here, it's got to be a big pistol and it's got to be a big conversion. You can't miss that second round again.
Yeah, no, you need to shut this one down pretty nicely, Dignitas. Of course, the next map is going to be possibly Vertigo, which is, of course, both teams actually have a very high win rate in their favor. There's going to be a quick rush towards that B site. It is Gruss getting himself the first. Dennis chiming in with the second, and now it's Truth towards B short. Will lose that fight up against Exist, who was already still hiding towards B short. Now it's all on Exist and Forest to clutch this one out. Bomb has been dropped on site and they need to get flushed out, but there is no utility left. Dennis does chime in, gets rid of Exist. Tap fight from Forest. Dennis is playing in the off angle, and well, he needs to reload that pistol, but it's going to be pretty tough to recover this one, especially with them heading towards their post-plant positions. Tap's coming through pretty nice, but yeah, They're just waiting for him to step out of position and then shut him down.
Very little time left for Freiburg, but he's found, or it's Forest rather. Either way, he finds an opening kill, but is taken down at the end of things. Forest unable to hold on to that one, and it is the pistol going the way of APEKS. Double digits secured by them now. They hunt down the second round conversion, which was something Dignitas weren't able to get when they won the pistol on the T side of things. So they're just bringing out the Deagles now to try and contest on the CT side, but they have two players absent body armor at the moment, with Hulzuk saving up money for an AWP.
Yep, it is still dangerous though. The Deagles can reign supreme. Dennis is actually going to rush forward after hearing that Deagle shot does execute exist in heaven. Close range, Dennis tosses down a nade. Turns around, shuts down Freiburg. Dennis looks a lot more active right now as well. 19 kills for the old glory player. It is going to be Forest and Get Right on that side with Hulzuk in heaven, trying to shut them down. Get Right will get taken down. APEKS will not get too much done. Well, we'll actually, yeah, no, just straight up die. And now it's all on Hulzuk. 1 versus 3. PP Bison on Marcelli is one of my favorite guns to see. It is absolutely horrendous, but it just does not run out of bullets. And like, it's the easiest spray pattern you'll ever see.
I don't even think it has a spray pattern. You just hold left click while running forward and hope you're close enough to your opponent. With the PP Bison, it doesn't find impact in the round, but that means very little at the end of things. 11-6 up APEKS will be. They'll be hunting down 12-6 now with this eco, and Dignitas, they have a lot of work to do on their CT side if they want to avoid us going to a third map. And with that being Vertigo waiting in the wings as well, it's not terrible territory for Dignitas, but it's very strong for APEKS, and that might make this Dignitas squad start to worry at the moment.
Definitely it does. It is APEKS's best map for last, so it is kind of terrifying, especially with their performance right now. And they also made it super close on Nuke. They're definitely not out of this series just yet. Dennis and Cruz both stepping up massively for the team. Marcelius still trying to chime in as well, but not the greatest performance that I've seen of him so far. Freiburg with that scout in hand, see if he can get a good tag going. Will not get it going, but the double nade comes through, and that's going to be easy cleanup for Marcelius as well. Towards long A, it's 3 players. Will not even get peeked at. Well, there's actually 1 player holding the flank, 2 players holding the flank, it seems. They expect something to be up right here, especially with the B side completely cleared out already by Truth. They know that they have to be along this long A area.
The bomb is towards B though, interestingly enough. APEKS have discovered that the A bomb site is free, but they don't choose to take the bomb there. The B bomb site is also free because all these pistols are stacked up in A long, so it will be a free plant either way. And APEKS looking to convert this round, having taken no damage. There's no real reason for them to go hunting other than for bonus cash with the SMGs, and that's why Marcelius is heading forward straight into Forest crosshairs, but he's looking too wide and gets cleaned away by Marcelius. Dennis finds exist on the other side of the map, and it is a totally clean round for APEKS to get through in that anti-eco. Now they're looking to steamroll the T side and take us quickly onto Vertigo.
Yeah, you don't want to give an opening to Dignitas to recover. Their CT side is rather strong, so you really do need to be very careful in this situation. It is it's kind of still dangerous. Hulzuk on that op can definitely go insane as well, but they are going for a quick aggressive move towards B on the side of APEKS, trying to flush everything out. They are playing with 3 defenders towards B though. And with full weapons and full utility, they are not a laughing match with this Dignitas squad.
They're really not. Forest peeking into short, but I think he got a bit more than he bargained for there. Perhaps senses that there are more players. In fact, Freiburg confirms that with the jumps. That's why Forest doesn't go aggressive into the short angle. Early damage dealt by the CT side in this first full gun round. It's a vital one for them to win. And sat in the smoke is Forest right now. It dissipates and they walk straight into him, but he can only convert one. Get right there to bail out for the second, but not the third. As Marcelius trades 1-for-1 against him, and the nade takes him down, but Dennis has found Freiburg now and brought it into a 2-on-2 on this B bomb site. Exist rotates up to heaven, and Hulzerk on the low ground with the AWP. Flash comes over to move his scope from the angle as they try to isolate Exist up in heaven. They've dealt the tags but not found the shots, and here we go from Truth. He's taken down Hulzerk now and left Exist with a big clutch on his hands.
Yeah, they're holding down that heaven position as well. If he peeks out from heaven to spot Truth, he'll get shut down by Dennis, and Dennis wins that duel. Another one for APEKS, and it does look very likely that we're gonna head over towards a Vertigo.
3 rounds needed on the T side for APEKS to close out this map and put us on a map 3. Dignitas don't really have any money to work with here. They can't afford M4s and armor, so it has to be the eco from them. They're going to pick up some pistols, a little bit of body armor, but it should be the 14-6 scoreline for now from APEKS, and it is very, very hard indeed to lose a map from that scoreline.
It is definitely still possible, of course, but they need to win. They definitely need to convert this one. They're just going to slow walk dry peek towards B, it seems, and that is the opener for Dennis, who's on 26 frags already. Get right, hiding behind site with the CZ, see if he can get anything done, but another easy shutdown. Peek wide, and we'll get 1 kill, falls down, but unfortunately the CZ does not have too many bullets to recover that one, and it's all on Hulzerk and Exist to get anything done this round. But it does seem like it's all set and done, and that should put Dignitas in a pretty problematic position where they'll be 14-6 down. That's 8 rounds difference between the two teams, 2 rounds until APEKS takes this to Vertigo.
And that's just such a scary map for Dignitas to end up on. It looks as though it's one they try to avoid in the veto as much as possible. And APEKS, they've only taken 1 loss recently on the map against the Azako Boars. Other than that 1 loss, previously it was to Complexity back in May, and that was in overtime. Outside of those 2 results, their most recent in the last 3 months and their oldest in the last 3 months, every single map has been a victory for them. They had a 7-round streak before the Boars defeated them a couple of days ago on Vertigo, and that is almost the opposite of what is true for Dignitas. They've got 1 victory really recently. They didn't beat Vitality on it even back in June. They lost to them, and in August after the player break, it was a 22-20 victory against Arvez. So a rather difficult outing early on anyway, and against a side like APEKS, who you could argue are a stronger side on that Vertigo match, Dignitas are looking like they're in trouble.
Especially if Dennis keeps playing like he does together with Gruss. I mean, 18-8 for Gruss. Cruz. Dennis with 26-9. I mean, Dennis is pretty much just trying to beat Forrest's score from the last map, whereas Forrest, I mean, the entirety of Dignitas at the moment is silent. We saw some hero plays coming through, but besides that, not really that much of massive interest on their overpass side. It's just been lackluster at best again for Dignitas, but they is still that 3rd map. Both teams pretty close on that win percentage, but it is APEKS's best map, and it is it's a very tough map, especially if you're like, you know, you gotta get readjusted to the map. Not saying that of course the old guard can't, but you know, older players usually tend to play the maps that they've been playing for years.
Mm-hmm. I mean, why wouldn't you with this squad as well? When you have a roster that's primary strength is its experience, I don't know why you'd want to focus on the newer elements of the game to try and claim victory. That's why you didn't really see sides like Dignitas fully adopt the Krieg meta either. They were definitely picking weapons like that up, you know, when necessary, but it wasn't like certain other teams you see, like Mouse Sports, for example, who were apparently totally dependent on it since the Krieg nerf come down. They've gone downhill quite considerably. However, in this particular scenario, it does make sense for Dignitas to try and stay away from maps like Vertigo. So I think your point is absolutely correct, that it could be a definite issue for them in the remainder of this series. We don't have any information as to the reason of this technical pause at the moment. All we know that is that it benefits the CT side. It slows APEKS down. It breaks up their momentum considerably, and with a full buy coming forward for Dignitas, they have no more opportunities. They need to win at minimum 6 consecutive rounds here before dropping 1 if I'm confident they'll even be able to force overtime.
It'll be pretty tough indeed for Dignitas. They're not out of it yet. Halzerg does need to hit some of those shots as well. He's on 7 kills. He looked a lot better on that nuke side. I mean, the entirety of Dignitas did in general, but he now has that CT side op, so he needs to make a quick pick to give his team an advantage. Molly's gonna miss the mark there. You see that Molly missed the mark a lot of the time, and they're gonna go for sneaky boost inside connector on Dignitas, though there is no one even getting close towards that B site. We have Truth playing the flank hold, and they're trying to retreat from connector, fall back towards that A side. They're holding the angle with Halzerg as well, so that should be a safe retreat coming through.
Safely back to the A site. No kills yet found in the round, and APEKS taking it much slower. You can see they understand the importance of this one. They have plenty of cash in the bank to buy up, even if they do trip over in round number 21 here. But they still don't want to throw this round away just because they have a full buy in the bank. It's Halzerg to go aggressive. He might just get the timing, but he can't land the shot. Falls away now to the A bomb site, and APEKS, they don't seem to have the read that this is a 3-man stack. They deploy smokes and definitely are thinking about attacking the A bomb site, but now they'd rather fake commitment. They'd rather try and draw these players in for as long as possible. As they drop the A main smoke, there's damage dealt on the B bomb site. That could trigger rotations coming through from Dignitas. In fact, it already has, so this fake has not worked for APEKS.
Yeah, Forrest is going to try and hold the line here. APEKS peeks in. Forrest goes big with the double so far. Marcelius swaps over to the pistol. The bomb has been dropped, and the last man standing is Dennis, who gets chumped down. They keep all their players alive on Dignitas, and finally they win another round. It's been a while, but they do benefit from that big technical pause coming through to get their minds refreshed right there. Good read, good shutdown from Forrest. Finally starting to wake up on that CT side.
Bit of a mistake here from Marcelius as well, just charging straight forwards with that AWP. Probably wanted to just be holding the longer angle, but he's the only man in Monster. His team need a crossfire, so he has to aggress forward and eventually does get taken down. Halzerg looking for the opening kill of this round, but knows he wants to back away as his position has been given away and his teammate has now fallen to Truth, actually. Oh, Freiberg has found a kill onto Dennis as well now. Dignitas, this is going very well for them. Marcelius taking Freiberg down, but it is actually the 1-man advantage still held by Dignitas here. As they come up from connector, the T's are thinking about attacking this A bomb site. If they can find an early kill for free on to exist, that's about the only way they'll find success here. If one of them gets taken down by Halzerg, it's incredibly troubling for them.
This is a nice little boost from the side of APEKS. Luckily enough, Halzerg he doesn't peek into them, but he is being held down completely. They know exactly where he exists, is gonna get executed by Gruss, and Halzerg on site, gonna place down the smoke to try and hold this push. Gruss on site will shut down Halzerg, and it's now on Get Right and Forrest. The flank from Forrest comes through though. However, that was actually Halzerg's smoke where they can plant in safely. Otherwise, Forrest might have gotten anything for his troubles. Will shut down APEKS while standing inside the smoke, and it's now Forrest and Get Right. 2 versus 2. Flash comes through, but it's not going to blind his opponent, and that is going to be all on Get Right. The clutch Meister, can he get it done? Baits out the op shot, but time is ticking down. Does not have any utility. Knows that Marcelius is close range, and Marcelius is not going to whiff a second. And that is 8 map points for APEKS.
Vertigo virtually guaranteed, as Dignitas need 8 consecutive rounds now just to force overtime and still have a chance to close this series out in 2 maps. APEKS, they've only lost that 1 gun round and they came straight back into it, firing on all cylinders. Now they look to finish this map off, and Dignitas have pressed the big green panic button, put an AWP out alongside Halzerks. Let's get 2 of the snipers on the board. Forrest has been pretty good today. His aim with a sniper may be decent. They do use 2 AWPs in this round, but APEKS, they've taken advantage of Get Right here. That is a lovely entry from Truth.
Yeah, nice. One and done. Gets the kill, falls back, man advantage coming in, and they're heading towards that A site because you'll always have the enemy at least outmanned. If you get a kill onto one side, head to the other, might call in rotations. You still have 1 minute and 10 seconds on the clock. Can always rotate back if necessary, but the positioning of Exists right now might get swarmed if he's not careful with that heavy A long push coming through. Yeah, Exists is kind of stuck. Does get Groose, needs some help though, but will not find any, and that is going to be the kill landed for Dennis, taking down Exist, his former teammate. And now it's Halzerk with it up, trying to get an information play going. Freiberg on site will shut down Dennis, and a 3-on-3, very doable, especially with the position of Halzerk right now. Does need to be careful though, especially if he whiffs the shot. Does recover, and Halzerk will get shut down by APEKS. Quick double for the player from Norway, and that is APEKS. Forrest only an op to retake 1v2. Can he do this? I think it's going to be a pretty tall task for him, but he can make that hero play work 100%.
The barrel is going to be spotted at any moment now. He's found the opening kill, but has no idea of the positioning of the second player. And the IGL of APEKS gets it done with a triple kill in the round. APEKS take it 16-7 and force this series on to Vertigo as the decider. Don't go anywhere. We'll have that map to you very shortly.
Nice shot. Lock and load. Wow, very good. Let me show you how it is done. Yeah, no. Damn! That was one of the best nickel fights I've been to.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Malta Vibes, brought to you by Gaming Malta, a home of gaming excellence. It's time for our third and final decider in this best of three series between Dignitas and APEKS to determine who gets the early qualification slot to the playoffs and who is dropping down into that decider series later on. My name is Protalis, and back at it again is DK Truman with me for our last map. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. It was a very solid second map for APEKS, and that makes me a little bit worried for Dignitas here, because this is, of course, APEKS's best map, historically speaking. They do have a bunch of very impressive wins on it, shutting down some big teams like, for instance, Alternate Attacks as well, taking Complexity to OT. Yes, that was still like 3 months ago, but still pretty impressive nonetheless. They've only lost twice on this map in the last 3 months, one against Zako Boers and one time against Complexity, which I did just say was in OT. So they definitely feel very comfortable on this map, and that is problematic for Dignitas, because we did speak about the the fact that the old squad, so normally they don't practice the new maps that come through as much as the other teams would, because they just feel more comfortable in the older maps. But they have had some decent showings on this map indeed, winning against Aves and Virtus Pro, losing however against Vitality. But then again, that's not really that bad, because Vitality is one of the top tier teams out there,
and probably one of the top tier Vertigo teams out there as well.
Yeah, I would definitely say that with Zaiwu on that. I mean, Zaiwu's just amazing, but he's one of the only real T-sided oppers that can actually make something happen on this map. Whereas I mean, the T-sided op is kind of a weird one, because there aren't actually a lot of angles that you can really op on this map. Yeah, B-side is pretty much the best one for the CT defense and towards ramp, but the ramp is like, there are two angles that you have to keep an eye on as a T side, and that's it. Whereas on the CT side, I think there's only one real angle that they usually peak with the op, and that's behind the big box, and they get boosted up, and that, if you just keep your scope in on that area, it gets shut down, and the map is also very close range most of the time. So opping is not the best thing to see on a map like Vertigo. It's more the rifles that, with a quick execute from the utility, they just rush down their opponents on this one, indeed.
Yeah, the AWPs on Vertigo, they're all about getting the opening kills rather than finishing off the rounds. If you're on the CT side, you want your AWP to be positioned. If it's on the A side, towards ramp early on, find an opening pick if possible. Don't go over aggressive through utility if you don't get that pick. And then you want the AWP to fall back into the A site. That you can go above scaffolding and look over the smokes with that sniper at that point for another long-range channel of attack down into the ramp. The knife round is ready to go on our third map, ladies and gentlemen. Dignitas and APEKS, our third and final map of the day. Both sides battling it out, and who is going to get the early playoffs qualification spot?
It's actually, it's a really T-sided affair on this map, so that should... I mean, I still see the teams always start on the CT side, though Alzerk will clutch this one out. 4 kills in the knife. Not that it matters too much between the T or the CT side. It's reasonably close, but it is slightly edging forward for the T side. And the duel, who's going to win? Oh, it's going to be Groos shutting down Halzerk. And what is going to be their call on APEKS? What side do they prefer to start on?
Probably remaining on this T side for my money, but it does look like they are actually going to switch on to the CT side of things and try their hands at the defense first of all. There is actually not too much difference between their T side and their CT side success rates, actually. So picking the defensive side of the map earlier on isn't necessarily a terrible decision to make. If it was Dignitas who'd won the knife round and chosen to start on the CT, I'd be a little bit more confused, but definitely chances now for APEKS to put up a big CT side against Dignitas early and give themselves an easier T side as they can. The odds from our partners over at LootBet are in, and they actually favored Dignitas on this map.
Yeah, I think that the odds should be a little bit closer. I mean, maybe because Dignitas starting on the T side, which I am not that impressed with their CT performance as much just yet. But they're going to rush forward. Truth gets himself a double. Does have backup from Gruus as well. Bomb dropped in mid. And that is the plan from APEKS. They immediately shut down Dignitas. Freiburg will molly out a player in ACAS. Will chop his head off. But it should be pretty problematic to win this one unless APEKS keeps peeking into their opponents constantly like that. And that's another one for Forest. Dennis falls. Why are they doing this? I have no idea. Just hold the angles. You don't have to re-peek into these players.
Only Forest having body armor means that Freiburg might have a little bit of difficulty with that Glock. He's trying to go for spam body shots. His accuracy is going to be affected by receiving tags from the USPs. And APEKS back out expecting an adjustment here from Dignitas, but no adjustment has come through. They have firm bomb control, APEKS, so they don't need to be moving away from this mid-angle whatsoever. They can just wait for Dignitas to walk into them, and this APEKS squad should be able to hold out a 3-on-2 here, especially with the USPs just needing one tap to the head.
Smoke deployed as well. Time is ticking down. They've got 25 seconds to get the bomb and rush to a site and get the plant in. But all three APEKS players are coming in for the defense. Forrest does grab the bomb, but it gets dropped immediately. Freiburg's on the run. Gotta get those legs some work. He's gonna get around the corner. Should possibly be able to get the bomb plant in just in time for the extra cash. And will die right afterwards by Marcelius. But they at least managed to get a bomb plant a lot more than you would initially have expected after losing their players down in mid.
Considering that bomb didn't look recoverable, at least they got it back and were able to work with something throughout the rest of this round at least. Now, in number 2, they probably won't want to go for the force fly off the back of that plant because they have so much cash available for the next round to work with. Instead, they are going to be contesting now, though, on a map as dependent on fragging as Vertigo is. They decide they want hero AKs out in this second round at the moment. Now, which player is going to pick them up? Because right now, the only people who can afford head armor are Holzerk, Forest, and Getright. One of those players in Forest and Getright could buy another AK and drop it forward. The problem is Exist has already invested into an AK in this round, so perhaps that's a little bit of a mistake money-wise. They do use that tactical, or technical pause, rather, it looks like, based on the graphic we have at the top of the screen to have a bit more of a discussion about what kind of a buy they're going to be using. And instead of putting 3 AKs out, they're going to put 2 AKs alongside 2 Galils. Definitely makes sense, but they don't have too much utility to operate with. Neither does the CT side, but a minor advantage does lie with them. And this round is going to be heavily predicated on the fragging.
Yeah, it's going to be a rather tough one with that little utility. However, you could rush onto a site very quickly in a map like Vertigo. They are looking to head aggressively towards that B site with Getright. 4-man A-ramp defense coming in from APEKS. They're definitely expecting that push, but it is the other way around. Hulzer pushing through mid. No one is holding the mid flank at all, and this is free real estate picked up right now by Dignitas. The flank coming through as well. They're never going to be in time to cut off these rotations. Halzerk shuts down Truth, and they're going to get pounced on the B side. Luckily, AKAS does chime in for a kill onto Freiburg. The push forward. Halzerk does execute them from behind and gets himself a triple so far. Smoked it out. Molly comes in, and that should be the bomb planted safely on the B site in favor of Dignitas.
They have secured it, and these rifles now need to back away for APEKS. The likelihood they retake this round incredibly low, but they are still looking in the early angles to see if they can convert an opener to try and give themselves room to maneuver. Gross is about as far extended as he possibly can be before he does take a dink. That is the cue to fall away from the bomb site now. They weren't able to convert the second round, APEKS, and this could give Dignitas now some economic momentum of their own.
Yeah, this is a pretty big round in their favor. They should be able to upgrade that get right Galil somewhere, though. If he remembers where they dropped the enemy's rifles. I mean, there should still be an AK lying around along these places, but he's just going to stick to the Galil. They save their weapons into the next round. At least APEKS will have a reasonable-ish buy behind what they've got. They've got decent utility as well as 2 rifles in their favor. And definitely still doable, but this Dignitas buy looks a lot stronger at the moment than the APEKS buy does.
You definitely have to agree with that prospect. It's just about avoiding those deagle headshots. You've got to avoid taking quick engagements against deagles where you flash your head in relatively stationary angles, or if you just strafe around directly and then try and take a one-on-one engagement when you've stood still to stabilize your rifle spray, that's when the deagles are going to try and take advantage and find a cheeky headshot there. There are 2 of them on the board for APEKS, supporting their 2 M4A4s, and the MP9 on Arquez just holding back with that SMG for the moment. Truth's found the first kill of the round onto Forest, though. That could be really big. He's been a vital player for Dignitas throughout this series.
Yeah, shutting him down, and they're hedging towards that B site as well on... the A site as well on Dignitas. Hulls are going to peek with the AK. They have not recovered that 1 rifle from Forest, though, so that's at least a big plus for them. It's going to be the peek from Bruce. Peeks out wide, though. Doesn't expect Hulzer to have been pushed up that far. A little bit of a mistake coming through. Peek out, exists, peeks into 2. Gives out the intel, but Dennis does trade it out, and it's going to be all on Get Right all of a sudden. Marcellus jumps up. Will get spotted out by Get Right, but he will be able to fall back towards Fold, and it's now AKES close range. Shut down by Get Right, and Get Right, he knows exactly where Marcellus is, so he can rotate towards that B site and get the bomb plant in safely.
Marcellus has the sound cues, but really can't do anything to stop this rotation towards the B bomb site. He hasn't got any body armor, which could be a huge problem in this clutch.
Exactly that, and Get Right's getting even more aggressive as well. The 1v1, he does know where Marcellus is coming from. He has an inkling, he's gonna peek away. The tags come through, both need 1 bullet. Actually, I think Marcellus needs 2 to finish off Get Right, but it is still very scary. Does not know what Get Right is doing exactly. The peek comes out, spray through, and
What?
Marcellus with the deagle shuts him down. 5 kills so far in these 3 rounds. Does have the time for the defuse, and that is going to be APEKS. Yeah, he had a kit. I forgot that he had a kit. And they actually convert this round perfectly. Nice job coming in from Marcellus. 5 kills already. I mean, this definitely is his home ground.
I'm in shock almost that he was able to win that one-on-one engagement. He had no body armor, so he used the wall as his armor instead to protect the damage from Get Right's bullets, and eventually just whittled his HP away. Rifles still coming out for Dignitas, though. The T-side economy, of course, allowing this upgraded buy to come through, and the aggression from Gruz is anticipated, but nothing they can do about the flash. And that's a man advantage again towards the APEKS side.
That's a nice shutdown coming in. They get really aggressive towards that mid angle. They probably need to keep an eye on that, but no one is checking sandbags. They have no molly to flush him out of there, and there's going to be the flash. I don't think he got spotted at all yet, though, but Truth peeks out wide, shuts him down, and that should be the round over with only Freiberg left standing, holding that A-ramp guard. Will not even get a kill for his troubles, and that is Truth also on 7 kills right now. So these players of APEKS are definitely looking massive on this map. This is their, of course, their best map in the pool, and it does really show it.
With a 4-1 lead, it's APEKS who have won the battle of the 4 spies. They should be able to convert the 4-1 lead after this eco round from Dignitas, because Just Glocks are going to do barely anything against the upgraded weaponry and head armored players. APEKS has even found the first kill with a HE grenade. Grudge is going to get overwhelmed in mid, but they have the info that they need now, and none of these players have body armor to support that M4. Get Right is already being sprayed down as the MP9 opens up for 2 kills. It's cleanly converted by the APEKS side. 4-1 found, and that's the issue when you engage in that force supply battle at the start of the map, you risk delaying the point at which your economy bottoms out now, and Dignitas calling a timeout here because they don't have a perfect amount of cash available. They cannot afford to put an AWP in the hands of Hulzerk, so it's just AKs and utility, but their opponents are starting to develop a serious bank on the CT side. Gruz the only player who is struggling for cash at the moment.
Yeah, it is looking solid for APEKS here. Marcellus is picking up that op as well. That after the previous two maps, not really woken up in those maps, so this is his map to finally start popping off, and he's going to use that op to his advantage. As we previously did mention, this is, you know, for younger teams, this is more of a map that they practice a lot because it's the new map. Older teams practice this sort of thing a little bit less, and because of that, you do have to fear these young guns who are playing pretty aggressively on their CT side. They're getting so much intel on their angles so far, and yeah, 4 rounds lead as well. Groos playing the fold area. I would assume no one's going to be playing sandbags this time because they will have mollies to flush him out. But it is just holding angles for both sides. A little bit of poke, see if they can get anyone. Akaz is on a prime position to get a couple of kills. This barely ever gets flushed out.
Well, they flashed him on this occasion, but they haven't quite spotted him out yet. Freiburg eventually does turn around and find that headshot, though, and now it's drawn quite a few rotations away from the A-bomb site. They've rotated Dennis to mid and 2 to defend B, but Dignitas are happy to take this one up mid and try and walk into perhaps this A-bomb site. Get right, what on earth is he doing? That's such a silly quick switch to go for, right as he peeks into the angle. I hate it when I see players quick switching nowadays because they quite regularly are getting caught off guard.
Yeah, it doesn't really get a good benefit, but Truth with a double spray down even gets to disengage from the fight. Keeps it going. Molly on in the smoke, unfortunately, but it is going to be a post-plant situation. A retake coming in for APEKS. They do have 1 smoke and decent weapons with kits on like everyone. Dennis is going to get shut down by Forrest. Gives away Forrest's position, though. And he actually, I think that was the only smoke that they had on the CT side. Forrest peeks out wide. Marcellus is dead. And the last man standing, Truth, he's probably just going to try and save the op, which he cannot seem to find for some reason. Will have to run away and save the M4 into the next round. A good recovery from Dignitas. After that, as you said, weird mistake from Get Right. There is not really a good reason for the quick switch. It's just a, you know, it's a habit that a lot of people still have left from the 1.6 days.
He doesn't expect anyone to be in the close angle, right? So that's why he obviously goes for it. But Forrest has really bailed APEKS out of this round, and I'm really confused as to why they sent the player solo up the ramp. I don't know what he hoped to accomplish. Where do you think the Dignitas are playing for that you feel safe enough to send the man alone walking up the A ramp? He must expect both players to be behind scaffolding, but I mean, there was no positioning early from Dignitas that indicated that would be what they were holding. So a bit of a mistake from APEKS there to allow their man to go in isolated. It let Forrest secure 2 easy engagements, and some missed shots avoided his takedown as well. But that buy can still come through for the APEKS side, and they brought double AWPs forward. Dennis tagged down early, but still alive on the sniper. Means he can still ring out shots, but he is missing them at the moment. His teammates are being taken down as well, and this could be the wake up that we tend to see from Dignitas late in these maps.
Yeah, that's just poor hold coming out from APEKS towards that A ramp, completely getting shut down with shots from Dennis ×2, and Truth and Grus just trying to go for the white peaks, which does catch them off guard. Marcellus is now playing that close range angle, but the bomb is still not secured towards the side. 45 seconds left. And they're actually rotating Dennis off that A site. So it's literally only Marcelius towards A. APEKS is going to go for a big flank, but it's going to take a while before he actually reaches that flank. And now it's all on Marcelius towards Fold. He needs to go big. He needs to shut down this push on his own, but does not expect Exist to have pushed that far forward. Will get annihilated. And the money situation for APEKS is pretty much gone. Dennis with the op has not, double op that they went for, has not really achieved anything. And the round has been lost in favor of Dignitas.
A sniper can be saved for the APEKS side and probably an M4 as well, as Dignitas don't really want to be chucking their own weapons away at the end of the round, but there's probably not going to be much brought up by APEKS outside of that one. It depends on the loss bonus. If APEKS can get an M4 out and drop it to his teammates, Truth might just be able to buy himself a weapon, and APEKS might consider going for that one. But I think those clicks you hear in your ears indicate that we're about to have a timeout, and APEKS really do need one at this point in time. Have a bit of a discussion about your monetary decision, because you can buy into this round if you want to, but the nades are going to be very stretched indeed.
Yeah, they could have a decent enough buy if Marcelius does finally find that opening frag.
Now we have the opportunity to talk about our partners over at Hellcase, the biggest and most well-known case opening platform that features nearly 100 cases, the updated case battle upgrader, dozens of giveaways per month, and tons more unique features. It is a really tough round for APEKS to walk into next time. It is a total gamble call whether they go for the buy or whether they try an eco forward here. Going for the buy would be the attempt of denying map point to Dignitas, and I say map point, sorry, the tied scoreline to Dignitas at 4-4, and deny their opportunity to come back into this map in full fashion. The worrying thing though, if you do go for that full buy, is you had double AWPs on the board in the last round and you still weren't able to defend against Dignitas.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Dennis missed those couple of shots. At the last game, he was absolutely popping off, and right now he's only on 1 kill in 7 rounds, so a little bit unfortunate. Would rather see him drop that weapon to Marcelius, of course. Who I don't even think he has had an op kill so far in this half either, but they're gonna go for that heavy gamble towards the A site. See if Dennis can drop a gun. Does drop get right. Takes a heap of damage for his troubles though, down to 40 HP, but a man advantage nonetheless for APEKS, and that is something you can work with.
It certainly is. They didn't invest into this round. They just put Truth on armor and a deagle. APEKS on the M4A4 still has full HP, and the fact that Dennis is alive and kicking with that AWP still means that there is some firepower available for APEKS to defend these bomb sites. APEKS though needs to be careful. The Molotov drop will stall the B push, but eventually it looks like it is going to come through from this Dignitas squad. They have Exist just watching the bottom of ramp, but now he's joining his team. They're deploying the early utility, and you can see Arquez expecting some kind of a wide peek at the moment, perhaps even just leaving his crosshair in a space he can quickly turn away from the flashes. But Dennis's AWP is here now, and Dignitas are going back towards the A-bomb site.
Yeah, they all got lured in on the APEKS side. Great bait coming out from Dignitas. They're going to push towards that A site cleanly. However, it's taking them some time to actually push forward, and immediately APEKS have rotated the other way around. They're there faster than these Dignitas boys. Dennis is trying to spot a player out on top. Does get a tag onto Halzerk. Pretty low, is going to go for the bomb plant. Will get taken down with the peak wide and the pistols. USPs reign supreme. They will shut down APEKS, but it is going to be Exist all on his lonesome. 5 seconds left, trying to disengage before he falls, and will just go for the straight sprint wars to save his AK. What a round from APEKS. I mean, that rotation was so clever, but it just took too long from Dignitas.
I think it's just a bit too difficult to sell the fakes here on Vertigo. The rotations between B and A can be so quick if you don't hold the active positions. If, when you rotate into the B bomb site, instead of watching stairs, you hold to watch the plant angle, it's only about 5 or 6 seconds to rotate back into A at that point in time, whereas it is much longer for the teams to make their way all the way around that A ramp. Freiburg has taken down the Norwegian IGL of APEKS early in this round, though, as he went aggressive, trying to take advantage of a flashbang. It's a gamble that has not worked out for APEKS here.
Playing that double op defense again on APEKS, seeing if it works out. Last round, it was Dennis getting a couple of very crucial shots in. Truth is going to jump on top. Needs to be careful because Halzerk is looking for him right now. And Groos playing close angles. Get right this time is not quick switching to try and start the peak. Will not spot out Groos, but he's actually so incredibly close and giving away a lot of intel for his team. The moment that they peek Groos, of course, they have Truth that can wide peek in as well. Flash is actually going to reign supreme. Exist down to 6 HP, Freiburg down to 7, but Truth does chime in to try and even it out. Unfortunately, Marcelius still has that big green stick towards the B site, and they need to cross him to get on that bomb site. Whiffs the flick, tries to go for a close range duel, but Halzerk is really close. Nice molly coming. Wait, that's actually a team molly, it seems. Dennis shuts down Get Right. Will get taken out by Freiburg, and Force chimes in as well. It's all on Marcelius. Gets the no-scope onto Fort. Wait, did Dennis just kill a teammate? Or am I... Okay, that might have just been my my eyes deceiving me. Freiburg is going to win that duel as well. Triple kill with the op when he was down... sorry, double kill with the op when he was down to 7 HP. And that is going to be Dignitas securing the round with still a decent enough buy for APEKS.
They can just about get the rifles and utility out that they're going to want to defend, and this is the competitive half that Dignitas was certainly looking to have. The issue was that they kept the early stages of the first half very competitive on Overpass, and then quickly started losing rounds into the 9-6, and eventually weren't able to convert many more throughout the rest of that map. APEKS, they lose out on the opening kill as Marcelius goes too aggressively towards B, and Dignitas, of course, they're going to read that. Arquez has been peeking aggressively on the B site time and time again. They're going to expect a player to be there, and the AWP missing its shot is unable to find any opening entry kills. That's a man advantage for the T side now, and they still might have to do work in order to convert this one, however, as they don't really have the most map control.
No, exactly that, but it does mean that you have weakened bomb sites. There are 2 players towards the A site, one holding mid and one towards B, so you could definitely swarm one of these sites. AKAZ only on a deagle towards B. We have Truth trying to get a little bit of information in mid, might win that duel, and he does chop down Halzerk. Force is going to go for the repeak. Here's the steps of Truth running back, so that's going to give intel that he's heading towards that A site. And the B push has been called by, or at least the B fake has been called by Dignitas, because they do like to go for this long, drawn-out match where it's going to go down to the wire, and it has gone wrong in the past, even in the past map. For a spray fight, does not get the connections going. Freiburg is going to shut down Groos. Molly towards sandbags, and it's now on Dennis on that A side. But as you said, the rotations are quick.
And the shots coming through from the CT side as well. Truth on his M4 trying to hunt for more. Was Dennis there, but Exist put him to bed, and he's got a second with this Mac 10. Favorite weapon for Exist, but jumping through the air was a silly choice indeed, because Arquez is quick enough to take your head off and win a must needed round for the APEKS squad. 6-4. They might have just finally damage the Dignitas economy enough to force them down onto an eco. Exist has 6.3k, but the rest of his squad could do with saving here, and it might be a case here that the captain needs to drop down some pistols.
It was a nice backflip from Exist in the end there, but it does not help his team to win it. Did try to go big. It is going to be a semi-buy on the side of Dignitas. Just dropping, picking up the AK, dropping, I think, a deagle to his teammates because he had that much money. And oh, there was that fast peak of which you spoke. They do like playing aggressive on that CT side for APEKS. I'm actually kind of worried for Dignitas' CT side right now. They are running out of rounds, and we all know that this is a T-sided map, and they are a very T-sided team. Freiburg spots out the elbow, but does not get the shot in. I mean, he doesn't get a good angle to shoot him down. And it's just pretty much poking and prodding, trying to get the utility gone from this APEKS squad, because they have to dry peek into everything on Dignitas. No utility left whatsoever, and that's going to be problematic with Truth behind sandbags.
Exist pushing forward, but Forest and Get Right have all been taken down, and Exist eventually does fall as well with the AK at the end. Perfectly clean for APEKS through that eco round from Dignitas, and they are now up on 7. They've got some cash left in the bank, but they've won 2 consecutive rounds, so their loss bonus has ticked down a little bit now. They would still want to avoid a loss in this round in particular, as it would potentially lead them into a strain buy up in the next one. No AWPs out, despite potentially the ability to purchase should they have not invested in that utility, but they would rather keep the AWPs away at the moment. And to be honest, I agree with that decision. They've just not been having much success for the APEKS side.
Yeah, the Dignitas squad, they've been starting to lose rounds left and right. They don't have an op picked up on APEKS this time, though. Neither on Dignitas, so they're just going to stick with the full rifle buy. Dennis still on a FAMAS, but AKAZ is trying to hold down that B push, which honestly could get swarmed. Luckily, there is Marcelius nearby to try and help out. The smoke is going to bait them out, make it think like there's a player around that angle. However, Forest should be able to push towards mid. There's a player close. Truth. Are they even going to go for any pushes, or is this all just, again, a fake towards that A site? This time with a little bit of utility. Groose, again, chiming in, killing off Get Right. A lot of damage has been dealt by the player indeed. I mean, he's absolutely one of the star players right now since after that first map. Halzerk and Exist gets taken out, and I think that was a team dink coming through as well by accident, but it happens. Now it's the bomb down towards Fold. Peek out wide. Groose is going to get taken out, but Dennis is still nearby. Swamps his gun for some reason, and that opens up the entirety of the site. Why would you do that? Just wait. Just wait.
Critical individual mistake there from Dennis, but that Molotov could have just bailed APEKS out of the round, as now Forest is under pressure to plant. They should know a peek is going to come through here to try and deny it, but Truth's found a kill at bare minimum, and AKAZ can hold on with the frag on Freiburg. Dennis very nearly switching to that gun allowed Forest to let Dignitas take that round, but instead the 2-on-2 managed to hold on for the CT side, and they can now confirm a minimum of a 1-round advantage at the end of the half.
Dignitas, this is looking like overpass all over again, and that is not a good sight to behold. That round, I mean, it went a lot more in their favor than it should have with that mistake coming out from Dennis. But it does get a lot scarier if, you know, you have a 5 versus 2 advantage and you almost lose it in the end. Dennis gets flashed off. Truth is going to peek out wide, though, but he peeks into multiple crosshairs. And with that, it's going to be Dennis falling back, throws the molly, rotates towards Fold, which is probably your best, safest angle that you can be. Unless you walk into that Forest Deagle, who shuts him down. Luckily, Marcelius with the nade gets rid of a Hulzerk, but the bomb is on the ramp, so someone has to recover it. I don't think APEKS know that it's still there, though. And it's going to be AKAZ trying to peek and get some more intel, but the B site has been cleared in the meantime by Exist, sneakily walking behind his opponents. Needs to get in a good angle.
Oh, dear.
Almost gets the catch onto his opponent, but there's Marcellus chiming in. You don't even hear the shot, it's that fast, but it was all a double fake because it's going to get planted on that A site with post plans coming in through. Marcellus walking through the smoke. They spot out APEKS. They know where the last player is, and they should not lose this. I'm saying that, but they're peeking into this APEKS AK, so you got to be careful and just play that post plan position. Forrest walks back, crawls back. 4K for Forrest in this round, and Dignitas secure another one.
Of course, it's Forrest with a massive play to win out that pistol round for the Dignitas squad, and it's flipped the table completely. Now APEKS are the side who don't have any money to work with. They might even have to invest into this round because they could be on double eco otherwise, with Dennis only on 1450. This has all gone wrong. This was their opportunity to convert 9-6 and look for 10-5 in round number 14. Instead, now it's 8-5, and, well, your opponents, they could potentially pull off the 8-7 half from 8-4 down with 2 remaining in the half. A double eco isn't actually a possibility for the APEKS squad, so they have to determine what they're going to do. It's minor investment from Gruss and APEKS into the penultimate of the first half, and they'll be looking for a full buy to try for 9-6 at the very end.
It's a pretty problematic situation for APEKS. Money is tight, even if they... Yeah, Dennis can't buy into the next round, at least not a full buy at all, which is definitely problematic. Get Right's on 3 frags so far, not having his best performance. But the Deagles are tapping away, seeing if they can find their headshots of their own. It's going to be Get Right chiming with it, getting the first kill onto Dennis. Nade flies through, not going to get too much damage done, but Halsik does get himself a kill. Triple in favor of Dignitas and Marcellus. I mean, this pretty much is just waiting until it's over. I mean, Marcellus could get a couple of good drops, though. Halsik is low. Get Right's low. Exists is reasonably low. Close range. It's going to be a double for Marcellus. Halsik does, however, chime in with that Tech 9 to shut him down, and it's APEKS on the B side. Still holding that position. A little bit slow to the rotation, I would say. And with that, Dignitas should get the bomb plant safely.
APEKS, I think, is just going for the long push and hoping that he's going to be able to steal one of these rifles away at the bottom of the ramp. Halsik not ready to plant until that smoke dissipates, just confirming that there are no more sneaky T's waiting to deny. And, well, walking in through the bottom of the ramp comes this CT Deagle. Nice shot on to Get Right to find some more economic damage. If you can bring a rifle into the next round, that would be beautiful. It looks like he might want to go for this, though, as Freiberg's in front of him. He picked up an AK-47, but the headshot angle works out for Freiberg and gives Dignitas their 6th. They're hunting down 7 on the T side now, but APEKS still have an opportunity to have a 3-round lead at the end of the half.
And they're going to need it because, well, actually, they're not really. APEKS still have to go on the T side, which is their preferred side, which they're actually really, really well versed on. And Dignitas has been looking a little bit lackluster on CT sides in general lately. So it's going to be pretty crucial for Dignitas to try and win this one. Marcellus with the op, trying to get a good peek. Very deep, weird smoke coming through, giving a massive gap. Halsik is gonna get shut down because Marcellus, as I said, there's like one spot that you normally stand in with the op, and Marcellus is gonna peek into that one straight away, shuts him down. A man advantage coming out from APEKS. He's gonna re-peek the same angle. Get Right's trying to get a catch onto the CT opera, but won't be able to find anything just yet.
Yeah, he knows he can't stick around for any more frags there, but Truth has gone aggressive. That actually works out against the AWP. It's looking at the wrong angle, and Exist has taken a dink now. He has to back away. Unfortunate the Truth didn't get more than one, but that's still a huge play to find at the bottom of the A ramp. With a minute left on the clock now, Dignitas get no map control towards A and instead slope off towards the B stairs, where APEKS is waiting in the wings.
Yeah, it's APEKS has to shut this down. The rotation from Dennis from mid is very quick, though, but the rest of the APEKS players are still far away. So if they manage to shut down APEKS quickly, They have some utility. 2 mollies are going to fly through. APEKS is going to smoke one angle, but peeks into Freiburg, and now Dennis has to hold the line until his teammates rotate through. Does spot out Freiburg, deals a lot of damage. Freiburg on top of the box actually wins that duel, gets the bomb planted. Now it's all on Marsilius and Groos to try and clutch this one out. Groos is going to get shut down by Exist on 3 HP, and now Marsilius has to go for the hero play, which is very tough to do with an op. Does start it off nicely by taking down Freiburg, but does he expect another player to be on site? No, he does not, and that is forced to get the last frag. Dignitas getting 7 rounds. Still a decent enough recovery, but will it be enough to win them their CT side?
Despite getting both of the first kills in the last round of the half, APEKS are unable to win the round as they leave one player alone on the B bomb site, and he's completely overwhelmed by Dignitas. No players then connect their shots as they peek in one at a time and lose individual gunfights. The scores on the doors at the end of the half, it's Truth out ahead in the server on 18 kills, but now swapping on to the T side, perhaps APEKS can be a more dangerous prospect. The CT half much weaker indeed for Dignitas on this map, a point you have already made, so they perhaps aren't even out of the woods. At least they recovered to an 8-7 scoreline. That's the silver lining, but they still have a lot to do on this map.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one indeed. This pistol is going to be pretty crucial for both sides. That's what happens when it is so incredibly close. You do need that weaponry on the CT side to stand a chance against this possible T aggression, because it's so you can rush out so many angles very quickly, normally the A ramp though, to overwhelm these CTs and smoke molly them completely out of the sight.
And that utility is going to be needed on the T side of this map, even if it's just a couple of smokes and molotovs. Those are the priorities. If you want to hit the A bomb site, you can drop a wall of smokes in and try and molotov the players out of that close angle. You want to hit the B bomb site. There's not much utility can get you early on the ramp. It can clear out some of those off angles for you, and that close position beneath the sort of wooden barricade that watches over that stairwell. You can definitely drop a molly in there where window used to be, but really it is more about aiming flashes and smokes on this map. With APEKS switching over to that T side of things, Truth is going to have to carry on with his individual performances, and to be honest with you, Dennis might need to come back into this map and start fragging again, because he was a key element of their success on Overpass, and he may be missed with such a balanced scoreline as this.
Yeah, they really need him to step up, especially those couple of rounds where he had the op. But what do you think of these odds?
Probably definitely agreeing with them here now that APEKS are the favorites heading on to the T side, which is supposed to be easier as well. I pretty much agree with that one. I don't have any complaints.
Yeah, seems about right. Slight advantage. I think I might give APEKS a little bit more credit, though. I do fear their T side a lot more than the CT side. Halzerg does spot out the full rush coming through. Exist as well, going for the one-tap retreat. And that's about it. The smokes come through. They should be able to get on site, but they have 2 nades on Dignitas' side, so that bomb plant should get blown up. Smoke shots coming through, and a lot of damage onto Groos as well. Look at this. Heavy utility flying through, and the taps to reign supreme. Groos still hiding behind sight, will get taken down by Forest, and that is all on Dennis and APEKS to try and shut this out. And Dennis gets completely flashed. Still wins 1 duel, and now it's all on APEKS. Gets himself a double, but it's not going to be enough. The bomb defuse will come through, and that is Dignitas winning the pistol.
8-8, all tied up after the first round of the second half, but Dignitas are not safe yet. They've been drawn repeatedly into these forced buy battles throughout the series, and they've been relatively unsuccessful in the second round conversions. Now, APEKS have an opportunity to use their upgraded firepower to steal away an advantage on their T side and start scoring much earlier than they would have expected. It's 3 hero rifles on the head armor, supported by 2 deagles that are heading quickly in towards this A bomb site. But that early ramp smoke is going to keep them at bay for the moment. Halzerg looking for damage, but not finding any.
It's so weird. If they get the bomb plant in the pistol round, they almost have superior weaponry to the CTs. As you can see, the 2 AKs and the Galil, massive powerhouse weapons to have in the first reasonable buy round, the force up. And Cruz has one of the AKs. Truth has the other one. Of course, we did see Truth pop off on that CT side, so it makes sense that you're giving it to your best active fraggers as well. Slowly crawling towards that A site with Dignitas playing the retake again, it seems. However, this time they don't have the double molly and they don't have the heavy utility to try and flush them out. It's kind of scary with their positioning. I don't see a lot of teams go for the retake situation here, especially not with Hulzerg getting eliminated so quickly by Groos. Bomb getting planted. This is a weird call, in my opinion.
That nade goes straight on Akez's head, and without armor, it does a lot of damage, but he's peeking up and still firing. They can't do anything. They're backing away. All 4 players, Dignitas. They know they're going to need the full guns available in the next round as these AKs and Galils are on the board. APEKS have converted the second scenario. They're going to go 9-8 up and compete for what might just be a full gun round in the next one after this save.
Yeah, I really don't like the choice of Dignitas here. Might be that it works out. If it works out, of course, it's a completely different story. But unfortunately, you see AKs get blown up on the side. But yeah, it's going to be a round conversion for APEKS. And now Dignitas, they need to win this one as well. Are going to force up behind it for the utility's sake, because they were rather lackluster in that department. Same thing with APEKS. Marcellus is actually going to go for that PP Bison again. Not a lot of people run that gun, but it is entertaining to watch.
Definitely going to be needing to use that weapon at close range. He's got 1100 in the bank and no utility, which is a bit of an interesting decision, but he's obviously trying to save up for an AWP. The rest of the players, though, they could be dropping him, especially players like Truth, so maybe he should have just taken the nades in that scenario. Mid-take coming out from APEKS, rather unusual, not a fairly default strategy you see on this map, and it's allowed Freiburg to find a kill in the rear, but Truth has found Forest up front. Get right holds on, but can't convert the second kill. That job belongs to Freiburg, who's actually run out of ammunition and now is going to burn alive before actually Truth puts him down with an AK-47. That bomb still has to be recovered from the mid-window, and there we go. This should be the round stabilizing now for the APEKS side. Dennis takes down Holzerk and commits to the bomb plant. That leaves Exist in a 1-on-2, but he can't find Marcellius early. 10-8 up go APEKS and put the Dignitas economy down in the toilet.
That should be a pretty reasonably easy 11-8. They can't really afford deagles either on the side of Dignitas. Otherwise, they will be very lackluster in utility later on as well. So Marcellus with that PP Bison should be able to rush around and farm some free kills. I'm saying free kills. They could easily still get that, you know, those USP headshots coming through. I think Force might have and Exist might have both picked up an upgraded pistol. Not really sure. No, Force is still on the USP. They're all USPs coming through. One flash, blinds Truth, and that is going to be the AK picked up by Forrest. Nice opening kill coming through, but the bomb site, the A bomb site has been cleared. They're actually heading towards B. They're using Marcellus as a decoy right now, and it has not really worked out, but the molly should be able to hold them off. I think Dennis just saw someone attempting to go for the jump. Marcellus gets dinked, double dinked by Halzek, shut down. Oh, this round is a little bit costly. But luckily enough, they will finally gain control of this round on the side of APEKS, shutting them down, keeping 3 players alive, and as expected, 11-8 in favor of the Norwegians.
Dignitas calling for a timeout now, as at 3 rounds behind on the weaker half of this map. They can bring their first proper buy forward into the half, but it's such an important one to win. They lose, it's 12-8, possibly 13-8, depending on how many players go down for Dignitas in a lost scenario. But if they win, They'll still have one full buy to overcome in the next round, but they could start streaking rounds together on their own CT side of things to try and put out a good performance. Probably not going to be any AWPs coming through from the CT side on this one, so Halzuk has to drop down on to a rifle. And when you look at the difference between these two sides at the moment, it is fairly even. It's just APEKS edging things out in terms of the fragging at the moment.
Yeah, it is pretty close indeed. Dignitas do need their players to wake up. I mean, Forest needs to go big like in the first map, and Get Right needs to wake up a little bit more as well. We've got Forest holding that mid, Get Right towards the B side, only on 6 kills so far, 19 rounds in. Not the performance you want to see from that caliber of a player. Might just not be his map, but they are going to push towards mid like they did attempted to do aggressively a couple of times before. Not a lot of teams just let forgo of that A ramp completely to go for a mid or B push. But there's a new flash out. Freiburg does get the kill though on to his opponent first. Peek out wide, but they already fell back on APEKS. 1-for-1 trade, they'll take it definitely, because if you have a 4-on-4 situation, it always favors the T side.
It looks like the B-bomb site's the target. Get Right, the lowest fragger for Dignitas, the only man here to defend. We've yet to see him be fully tested on the B-bomb site, and for now, it doesn't look like he wants to take aggressive engagements. Drops the smoke in front and secures a kill, but now the bomb site is under T-side control. The plant going to go through regardless of these aggressive positions from Dignitas, but Forest has been taken down aggressively, and that's left Exist now in a 1v3 as the AWP found a kill from Marcelius as well, and just one M4 saved into the next round means it's likely to be an eco for the Dignitas squad. 12-8 found by APEKS, and potentially 13-8 at the end of this next one.
If Exist keeps that M4 alive, they could pick up a couple of deagles. Definitely possible, especially if you give a deagle to Forest. He is crazy scary with that gun. But as you said, it should be a nice shutdown from APEKS. 12 in the bag. 4 rounds in the lead. Needs 4 more to win this series, and then be the first team to qualify for the playoffs in this group. Of course, the loser will have to face up against the other match that's going on, which is Budapest 5 versus Gamer Legion, and which actually just right now, it does seem that Gamer Legion have lost. So Gamer Legion are out. Budapest 5 are going to be waiting in the decider match later.
We'll have to see whether it's going to be Dignitas that are meeting them. 13-8 down. Another full gun round would come through after this one, even with a loss, and that really is a must-win. Regardless of how this round goes, the next round is vitally important for Dignitas if they want to remain alive in this series. Freiburg has actually escaped back to the top of scaffolding and only found damage, though, on his repeat. He knows he can't commit to lengthy engagements due to his lack of body armor. But APEKS have read that this is a lightly defended bomb site. Spotting only one player, and at long range, it indicates that there aren't many defenders here. And Dennis, he's ripping all the rotators to pieces. Quad kill in this anti-eco, jumps atop the smoke where Forest will take him down. But this bomb can be planted on the A-bomb site. Absolutely it can. And Forest, it's all about damage from here on out.
Dennis got a little bit greedy there, wanted to go for the ace against his old squad. Unfortunately, he jumped around with his Glock in hand, so could not really get anything done. Forest is the last one standing. See if he can get one more gun drop, but it is very unlikely. Truth does shut him down, and that is going to be 13 for APEKS. Dignitas, full buy round coming out. I assume Halzuk's going to be picking up the op as well. But look at this. Quick, clean execution coming out from Dennis. We talked about him being very silent, and all of a sudden, 1 round, 4K, boom, back on that scoreboard.
Indeed he is. That's brought him into double digits now. And at 13-8 up APEKS with the conversion of this gun round, you have to expect that's the map falling away as well. Aggressive Molotov, but it's more aggressive play from APEKS over onto this B-bomb site. Get Right finds the opener, gets the second. What a time to go big for Get Right. Massive triple kill in the B-bomb site. They run straight into him dry, and he picks them all apart. Overconfident from APEKS as they are demolished by their B rush strategy. The totally wrong call to make, and it's let Dignitas stay alive.
A big play coming out from Get Right, holding the line massively. They all just walk into his spray of bullets. Look at this replay. Absolutely heavy spray control coming in, shutting them down. Gets flashed off at the end though, which is I mean, you need to use that utility a little bit better there on APEKS, and that gives Dignitas a fighting chance. If they lost that round, it would have been pretty much all over. But now they still have a solid go at it. If they win this one, APEKS still do have a decent buy though. But same the other way around.
The Dignitas squad, they are trying so hard right now to farm an early kill through these smokes. Not gone well for them so far. And now they think about backing away. But actually, it's Freiburg who aggresses in. AKES takes him down, but Forrest is very quick on the trade. Second guesses himself, though, and that lets APEKS take him... Oh, take him down from behind. 3 on 4 now. Would be by.
Yeah, they still have a solid chance here for APEKS. Forrest gonna peek out wide, is gonna get shut down by Marcellis, but Exist still playing around. Fold will get executed by Truth. There's no player towards that A side. They have to rotate in quickly. Halzer, I guess that was a whiff flash. The second one does hit the mark though, and is gonna peek out wide with the op to try and defend the site.
Oh, misses the shot, and that lets Marcellius take him down. Get Right, you need to hold on to this one, my friend. Triple kill in the last round. Can he get a triple kill in this one? Baits out the shots, does Dennis, with the bomb on his back, but on 42 HP now. This 1-on-3 clutch is going to be very difficult to pull off. Creeps ahead just behind the smoke and is so far avoiding the tracers from Truth, who is so badly trying to take him down. Instead, though, Get Right, he can't spot anyone. He doesn't want to contest. He'd rather save the AWP forward and let APEKS on to 14 rounds. Dennis even expects that Get Right is posted up here, waiting for him to swing, and he actually lands that shot as well. AWP save denied to the next round, but a buy still going to come through from Dignitas.
That was a must-need round win for Dignitas. They should have had that one in the bag, especially after having the man advantage, but they just got executed right there from by Marcellis' op and Truth's AK when they went for those peaks on a ramp. That puts them at a very big problematic situation. They do have a full buy, but if they lose the next one, they're going to be on match point with no money left in the bank. So this is everything they need to win. Dennis starts off nicely though by getting rid of Halsey. The Opper is gone again. Big shots coming through. Dennis is tagged pretty low though, but the damage has been dealt. Mid is actually completely open right now for the side of APEKS, and Truth is crawling through it. Freiburg might spot him out, but they are stacking up on that B side flank. From Truth will get rid of Get Right, and now it's all on Forrest on the side. Can he hold the line? No, he cannot. Barely gets a tag in on his opponents, and now Truth in the C2 spawn will shut down one, but Exist down to 1 HP. They're 100% gonna hunt Exist down.
I definitely think that's the case, and so do APEKS. Actually, he's walked back towards D, thinking they may come up the ramp. And this is going to give his position away. They're definitely going to commit more than one player into him. Exist does fall down. That's no M4 saved, and no M4 really available to purchase for Dignitas in what could be the last round of the map. They performed well on their pick, but ever since then, APEKS have looked very deadly indeed. 15-9 up. They walk into 3 FAMASes and 2 Deagles by the looks of things. That is the only hope Dignitas have of avoiding elimination from this series and having to play against Budapest 5 again later on.
The only plus side is the fact that they already beat them earlier, but Forrest chimes in with the Deagle. He's not out of this game just yet. Get right with the flash, trying to fake them off the angle, but it is Dennis pushing forward. Dennis is awake a little bit more, so you have to be careful in peeking into his angle. Groos is actually hiding inside the smoke. Halzerk does not expect Groos on that angle, and a nice shutdown, meaning the A site is reasonably clear. We do have Freiburg with that Deagle close range, might spot out Groos, and he does get the headshot as well. Freiburg, these Deagles from Dignitas are reigning supreme right now. 3 versus 4 situation. He picks up the FAMAS towards Fold and should be able to get that bomb denial coming through.
Marcelius knows that Freiburg is here and he's found the important shot. Now that plant can come through for APEKS and they can go about the business of winning the round. APEKS just saves his teammate, takes down Get Right, and Forrest now left in a 1-on-3 clutch. He gets 1 kill at bare minimum, gets the second onto Dennis as well, and now Marcelius on the AWP. Actually, APEKS were not able to plant there. Marcelius has gone aggressive, and of course it's Forrest. He's always coming through with these massive clutches for Dignitas, and it's a huge 1-on-3 for him to find.
That is massive. Forrest clutches it out right in the end, giving them a fighting chance. The man steps up completely, starts it off with the Deagle, shuts it down with the rest of his the weapons that he manages to secure. The bomb was also not planted, so they kind of had to peek into the AK of Forrest. Of course, AKAS made the right call earlier by not planting the bomb and saving him, Marcelius. But he definitely should not have gone for the aggressive last peek onto Forrest there. That is a little bit more greed, and this gives an opening for Dignitas to turn this one around.
5 in a row needed to force overtime. But A is actually rather lightly defended. Only 2 people here early. Get Right's on a slow rotation, and that will accelerate somewhat now. So there will be 3 players defending this A bomb site. The nades aren't quite finding damage, though. It's just the T side who've been tagged for the moment, as Freiburg looks to reunite with Exist on fellow MP9 to try and help him on the defense. They're useful at close range, but Bruce has to find these kills. Get Right, he's exploited the missed spray down from Grus and just punished both him and Dennis now towards the top of the ramp. Marcelius has missed a vital shot and let Get Right have a triple. This looks like 11 now from Dignitas, and APEKS don't quite have enough money to buy up into the next round.
Not yet, no, but it definitely is pretty close. They might actually just force it up. Of course, personally, I would just wait until you have all the weapons and utility you could ever want. But Truth still needs to cross towards that bomb site to try and start the plant. The moment that the plant gets made, or at least the sticky sounds from the bomb have been pressed, they will try and go for the push. Molly on the site. AKAS does shut down Get Right, but it is AKAS 1 versus 3. He's going to peek out aggressively. Expecting the bomb timer is dropping low, and they just need to kill him after the timer right now. AKAS, he needs to run away. Gets 1, falls back from the angle, and will lose against Exist. That's a lot of money just lost from dying after the timer.
Now they have to eco this round, APEKS. There's no justification to go for the force, and they're going to call a timeout as well off the back of things. Should just be Deagle and Armor, though, on this T side, looking for the full buy at the 15-12 scoreline. Dignitas staying alive, and the thing is about comebacks is they're usually predicated on a single catalytical moment. There's got to be one big play, usually, that really acts as the jump pad that propels a comeback into action, and that huge clutch from Forrest could just be it for the Dignitas side. I'm really disappointed with this decision from APEKS to invest into this round, though. It's a total gamble that they should not have gone for, having lost AKAS at the end of that last round. Now it's going to be even longer before they can put proper utility on the board. They better hope that they can claim victory in this round, or they may just have left the door open for overtime.
Yep, they still do have AKs available though, but as you said, it is getting pretty dangerous with the last couple of rounds over in this map. We do not have that much utility on the side of APEKS as well because of that shoddy buy behind them, and Cruz is running around without any armor. So they're gonna just slowly walk towards that A side, which is now stacked by 3 Dignitas defenders coming up. Exist playing around Fold. The moment he sees a peek, he throws a smoke, falls back. Actually, that molly is thrown out to defend the Fold area. Well, at least make sure that they don't get peeked themselves. Exist with that smoke will make certain that they know that there's someone nearby. But Dennis gets rid of Alzerg, who does not even pull the trigger. Peek out wide from Dennis, does not get the kill in. Exist, luckily enough, chimes in to finish off Marcelius. Peek wide from Truth, double spray down. APEKS actually is the one that chimes in there as well, and APEKS has the bomb in hand. Could go for the plant, but Forrest is waiting for Get Right to arrive before he's going to try and contest this, because they don't know if they're both playing ramp. Cruz has an AK, but no armor on him. They've got 2 flashes on the CT side, a smoke and a flash on the 2 flashes on the T side, a smoke and a flash on the CT side, and they're trying to fall back. Peek out wide. It's a 1v1. Cruz, no armor, AK in hand, defuse kit and a smoke though for Get Right, who seems to know a setup smoke to come through and will use it. Molly, that he now knows where Cruz is most likely going to be peeking from. Here's the shots. Pros don't fake. Pros don't fake.
Oh no.
Pros don't fake.
Oh dear.
And Get Right gets the defuse.
He just doesn't understand at all where Get Right is standing there, and that's really confusing because he saw him before he committed to the defuse. He knew he was further left than where he was firing, but just doesn't remember. Does not secure that spray down at all, and that's a huge misplay from the APEKS side. Now they have pistols to assist the AK on Cruz, and with this AWP watching mid, it should be able to find some kills. It's actually being rushed down at the moment, so it needs Forrest to bail it out. Freiburg's helping as well, but that missed shot from Halzerk has created a lot of room for APEKS to work with, and it's Get Right in the B-bomb site who's trying to hold on, and with his last bullet, found such an important headshot there. No idea how significant that is onto Gruz. He is such a hero in the round, and now Dennis is in a one-on-one scenario. CZ in hand, the pistol meister of old. Can he use it in this round? Knows he has to recover that bomb. Didn't go forward because he thought Exist was already holding the angle, but now he has secured a CT rifle, and with a minute left on the clock, he can really play some mind games with Exist into thinking that he's rotated around. He looks instead to go aggressive, going to creep around the corner, looks for Exist and secures the kill. Dennis gets it done. 1v1 at the end of Vertigo, and it does eventually allow APEKS to take the map 16-12.
What a massive performance from APEKS, taking down the favorites for